Once again, from the Schmoes Know Network Studios in Los Angeles, California, it's the Schmoes Know Movies Show. Tonight, director Lexi Alexander, and a look at the best and worst of the 2014 superhero movies. And now, here's your host, the lovely and talented Mark Ellis, Kristian Harloff, and my personal friend, Tiffany Smith.
Hello, Schmoeville. It is a great episode tonight. I told Tomato Face JTE there that I was going to be yelling at him when we started, and I will do that. I said to him, as Ken does his intros, were they live? Did they hear that? He's like, no, they weren't live, but they heard it. Then they were live. Anyway, it's the Schmoes Know Movies Show. I'm Kristian Harloff, joined by my partner in crime, Mark Ellis.
Yeah, and what a job by Ken Napzok to have to go back to one like that, to do maybe his most difficult intro to date, and to do it twice, and to knock it out of the park, maybe even better on the second take, Ken. You are a true professional.
Congratulations, dear sir. You finally made it with your energy drink. Now go and continue to do your little skits, and I'll see you later on.
Nice.
And now the reason why, not because we have our co-host here, our lovely DC and DC All Access Fandango, my partner in crime at Far Far Away, Tiffany Smith.
Hi.
Now Tiffany is a trooper, and I'll tell you why. Tiffany calls me today, and she's like, "I'm not feeling that good. I'm not feeling great."
What?
She's not feeling that good. She's
great.
a trooper.
If you're following me on Twitter, no, I didn't get an Xbox One delivered to my door, so I still have a migraine.
Yeah, see, she's in trouble. But the thing is, I told her, because this has now become like our annual thing. We did last year. We did a great episode. It's a classic now at this point. The superhero movies are our favorites of the year.
That was a memorable one. That was a good one.
It was the infamous moment where you referenced Tiffany's dad's penis. You remember that one?
No, I don't.
I choose to forget that moment.
It was one of the funniest moments ever. We nonstop. We died for a long time. Very soon, that episode will be on the archive channel. Make sure that so you don't miss it. Go to youtube.com/Schmoes Know Podcast. Subscribe so you catch it.
And by the way, thank you guys all so much for doing the fan Q&A this week. But someone asked me on it, when's your dad going to come on the show?
I want Rick Smith to be on the show. Are you kidding me?
I met
we all had the privilege of meeting your dad a little while ago, and he seems like a great guy. And now that it's the 1 year anniversary, more or less, that's why you're so conservatively dressed. Right. You're dressed like a Catholic schoolgirl.
This is like the closest thing to non-PJs that I could get on my body to get here tonight.
It was fair. I particularly like the one collar out, one collar in on the sweater.
You said PJs, and I'm surprised the Finstock theme didn't start. Let me have that. Let me have that. Can I
wow.
Look at this. Look at this. This is not engraved yet, but this is the ultimate Schmoedown belt.
Look at that thing.
This is the ultimate Schmoedown belt.
Are all wrestling belts this
Riley,
heavy?
Have you seen that yet?
No, he's just seeing this. This is your championship belt.
I'm gonna touch it.
I would like to give a lot of. Yeah, this is legit.
Heavy.
It's
Don't
legit.
give it to the guy with food poisoning.
What I would like to thank is both Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergar, and Phil for really setting this up, because their contacts over at WWE. This is your AfterBuzz championship belt. I mean, your Schmoedown, Ultimate Schmoedown.
I have to clear a space over my toilet.
Well, but what you should know is that you will be defending this belt in 2015 until the championship happens again. So you may lose that belt. I know. Let Riley hold on to that belt. We're gonna still engrave it. So right now, that's your champ. He is the champ.
If it goes to other people, how do you re-engrave it?
Well, no. All it's gonna say is Schmoedown champion.
Watch the beer. Watch the beer. For God's sake,
watch the beer.
Not spill the beer.
It's not gonna say Mark Riley. It's gonna say Schmoedown.
Can't we just keep putting the names, like engrave Mark Riley, and then the next one?
It's gonna be a new belt,
and then Mark Riley again.
Can't it be like the Stanley Cup, where
maybe
has like dangling?
I will do a victory tour, and you're all welcome to come over and take your picture with it.
Congratulations on the belt. It's a great belt, and thank you again to Phil, Maria, and Kevin for getting that. It's awesome. Great show tonight, guys. Now, like I said, we're going to talk about superhero movies. We have a lot to talk about, and cannot wait to. We want you guys right away, get in on the conversation. Make sure you're hashtagging, tweet, and hashtag Schmoes Know. Give us your top 5 superhero movies of the year. The ones that you have to choose from, which are the only 5 really this year.
Mostly just rank them.
Rank them.
Just rate which one you enjoyed the most.
Because there are only 5.
Right, and they're not all great. But you have the ones that you can put in there are X-Men, Guardians, Captain America, Spider-Man 2, and Big Hero 6. Go ahead and put those 5, rank them how you would rank them, and hashtag Schmoes Know. We'll read out a couple of your lists a little later.
Sorry, gang, the best of me does not count.
No, but you know what the best of you is going to do? Get into a great conversation later with Lexi Alexander.
As I frequently do with women.
This woman, by the way, I like just a person in general with moxie, and this lady's got it.
She makes some badass movies.
She makes some badass comments. I'll tell you what, man. She is fearless so far on both interviews and Twitter, and I love how she got on this show. By the way, you want to enlighten us?
Yeah, it's a good story. I think we should tell the story once Lexi actually gets on here. We and her got into it on Twitter a little bit because I made some comments based on her comments. I got a partial read of something she said about the Wonder Woman director and how much it's probably too much pressure for any woman to hold. I'm paraphrasing her, and that's at least the way I took it. And then she corrected me on Twitter, and we had a back and forth. Then I ended up really liking her moxie,
right.
and I tweeted, I was like, "Hey, you should come on the Schmoes Know Show." And then she swooped in. She said she's available today, so we got her. She's here to talk. It's going to be awesome.
We'll have some beers, and we'll do that. So that'll be the show.
She's bringing German beer, apparently.
That'll be a lot of fun.
She's going to bring some German beer.
Talk about superhero movies. She directed Punisher.
She directed Punisher. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
So we're going to get into that'll be at 6:30. So look forward to that. But now it's the news time. It's the pit boss. He's going to be spitting some jokes like he always does, telling his skits. The old man, the grouch, my buddy Ken Knapsack.
I'm Ken Knapsack, and these are your Schmoes Know headlines, brought to you by schmoesknow.com, your source for movie news, reviews, and clues. Not long ago, excitement was building for the Aaron Sorkin-penned, Danny Boyle-directed biopic on the late Apple guru Steve Jobs, especially with Christian Bale on board to portray Jobs. Then Bale suddenly dropped out of the project like he was a phone call on an iPhone. Now, despite rumors that Michael Fassbender was a possible choice to step into the role, Deadline first reported late Wednesday that Sony Pictures has dropped the film, putting it into dreaded turnaround. So if you're currently writing a spec script about the creator of the Samsung Galaxy, this is your moment. Actually, wait. Now Deadline is adding that it appears that Universal Pictures has jumped on the project and will fast-track it into production. Meanwhile, your mom can't understand why she keeps FaceTiming you when she just wants to send text mail about your dad's new blood pressure medicine. Since tweets count as news stories these days, one of the top stories this week was Sly Stallone confirming that he will once again be playing the part of Rocky Balboa in the upcoming spin-off movie simply called Creed. News of the movie, which is set to star the dynamic Michael B. Jordan as the son of Apollo Creed, had first stirred fans in the Rocky franchise in the summer of 2013. But no major news on the project had emerged since. But Stallone's confirmation of his return to the iconic role that put him on the map also included the news of start of production, which appears to be January. Fruitvale Station director Ryan Coogler set to direct Creed. In a related story, the band Creed enjoyed an unexpected increase in mistaken clicks on their website this week. In another related story, I'd like to apologize for making a cheap joke about the band Creed. Sometimes the whiskey doesn't take effect till after I write the news. We already know that Paramount Pictures is moving forward on G.I. Joe 3 because why quit when you're behind? They already have a writer, but now it seems as though they have their director in a scoop exclusive to schmoesknow.com. More sources have claimed that the team behind the G.I. Joe franchise have begun talks with their number one choice, Martin Campbell, the director of the excellent Casino Royale, and Green Lantern, which is available for free if you look underneath the nearest Redbox machine at your 7-Eleven. The talks are said to, quote, not yet be serious, so stay tuned to schmoesknow.com for more updates on this story. No release date has been set for the film as of yet, so I'm just going to go back to filming my G.I. Joe action figures in my bedroom before I do my homework. The Rap's Jeff Snyder, co-host of Meet the Movie Press with our very own Mark Riley, dropped an exclusive story this week saying that Summit Entertainment is trying to court Tom Cruise to play the mentor role in an upcoming retake on The Highlander. Sean Connery first played the role in the 1986 original. Representatives for Cruise did not deny the rumor, but only said that the movie is, quote, one of many projects that come to him and that he discusses. Summit Entertainment admits that Cruise is more of a hope than an option, but they feel Cruise would help draw a big name to play the lead role of the Highlander himself, Connor McLeod. I'm available, yelled the original Highlander, Christopher Lambert. Cedric Nicholas Troyan, whose name sounds like a minor Game of Thrones character, is set to make his directorial debut for the reboot. And for those keeping score at home, there are now only 3 movies from the 80s left to remake. And one of them is Grease 2.
Yes.
Oh, wait, sorry, there's only 2 movies left. 2 movies are left because Arnold Schwarzenegger hinted that a Running Man remake could be in the works while speaking at a Q&A session in England this week. The former California governor said that he considers it an honor to be asked back to the sequels and reboots of some of his past projects like The Terminator and the comedy Twins, before adding, there are, quote, rumblings about a new Running Man movie. No word on who might be remaking The Running Man. The original adaptation of a Stephen King novel was released in 1987 and warned of a dystopian future in the year 2017 in which a reality star TV's ass is the most important news story of the week. Journalism will be reduced to 140 characters of guessing and highly charged personal opinion, and the only movies made will be hastily thrown together remakes designed to make enough money to trigger a bonus clause in the studio head's contract. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Woo! This week, actor Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself, was named People's Sexiest Man Alive, narrowly beating out Chris Pratt, Matthew McConaughey, and the mugshot of that hot guy arrested on felony weapons charges over the summer. While appearing on Jimmy Kimmel for the announcement, Hemsworth thanked his parents for putting this together. Damn, good-looking and funny. Meanwhile, for the 5th straight year, I was asked to not take off my T-shirt at the local YMCA pool. And finally, we at Schmoes Know would like to pay our respects to one of the legends of the game. Director Mike Nichols passed away today, leaving behind a legacy that covered film, theater, and television. Consistently one of the most respected talents in the industry, Nichols won an Academy Award for Best Director in 1968 for The Graduate, and would later win both Tony and Emmy Awards for his work. Additionally, his early sketch and theater work with his comedy partner Elaine May remains influential to this day and is considered part of the historic shift in the tone and style of modern comedy. The 1960 comedy album of their Broadway hit An Evening with Mike Nichols and Elaine May won a Grammy. He is survived by his wife Diane Sawyer and 3 children. His son Max is married to CNN reporter Rachel Nichols, formerly of ESPN. Mike Nichols was 83. I'm Ken Apstock. Those are your Schmoes Know headlines brought to you by schmoesknow.com.
Kenny!
Rocking it down.
You know, I forgot that Mike Nichols was married to Diane Sawyer, but that
oh wow,
yeah, Diane Sawyer, one of the best lookers this planet has ever had.
I'll tell you, my favorite Mike Nichols film, by the way, was Closer. Really big fan of that film, and
it was a good trivia question.
Big talent. Sad to lose him, obviously. And if you haven't checked out our good friend of the show, Bonnie Somerville, actually on her Instagram, she put out a picture of 5 of Nichols' favorite films, and one was Postcards from the Edge, one was Working Girl, one was Closer, one was Graduate. Yeah, Graduate, and what was the other one there? I can't. Birdcage? No, it wasn't Birdcage. There was one other one.
But Birdcage is great too.
Birdcage is great. So he's a great director. Check out some of Mike Nichols' film if you haven't seen them.
Yeah, let me make this point real quick too, because this isn't the story that we got to really get in depth to. But I like Chris Hemsworth. He's a good-looking dude. He's got a lot of personality. Yeah. How does Matthew McConaughey lose to anybody in the sexiest man of the year?
Those Lincoln commercials.
Are you kidding me?
How does he lose to anybody?
Did you watch Rush?
Well, you know what? Here's a question. Here's the question. Let's ask the 2 ladies in the room who. Let's go after hours for you, Alicia Malone.
Okay.
So you get one night with either McConaughey or Hemsworth. What do you take? Hemsworth. Not even because he's Australian.
It's Australian.
Yeah. Tiffany, if
so, she's cheating.
Tiffany, if you were able to hold hands with one of them in the park, which one would you pick? Hemsworth.
I mean, I generally don't go for guys that I think are like so stereotypically good looking.
He's carved out from
like
a Greek god.
Looks like a Greek god. But it's like you watch Rush, and there are moments where I'm like, how does a person look that
right?
Good? I love that every boyfriend that Tiffany ever had just heard her say, I don't generally go for guys that are good looking,
right?
But I guess I'll make an exception.
I don't generally like there are some girls that go for the most attractive guy in the room every time. I'm not that girl.
Right.
Me neither.
Well, then how come
Thank God those girls exist? Yeah.
That's true.
I thought Ken Knapsack had a shot at being Highlander.
Yeah. You're in your middle of your joke, by the way. When you told your joke about Christopher Lambert, and you're like, I'm available. Tiffany's like, oh, Ken thinks he's available to be able to do it.
I didn't say that. I was like, that's funny.
Well, I can't hear. I have headphones on. There's a couple other stories here that we should talk about, and one of them that Ken touched on was I am very excited about Sylvester Stallone coming back as Rocky Balboa. Mm-hmm. Now, what's great about it is because he gets to redo what failed in Rocky V. He's going to come back and he's going to help train Apollo Creed's grandson, played by Michael B. Jordan, directed by Ryan Coogler. That's a fantastic team.
Yeah.
No pun intended with Fantastic Four there, obviously. But what do you, how are you feeling about that story?
Well, I think Michael B. Jordan is a little bit more seasoned of an actor than Tommy Morrison was in 1991. So you get that leg up right off the bat. I think it's great. Seeing Rocky Balboa in a movie where there's no pressure on him to actually fight is going to be awesome because you don't have that, oh no, they're just going to make another Rocky movie. Rocky Balboa was the perfect makeup call for Rocky universe. 5, and now we get to see. Here's the problem I have, and I think that a lot of Rocky purists are going to have this problem.
Uh-oh.
Whose grandson is this?
Apollo Creed's.
Yeah.
So what?
Why can't Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone
you want to see
make nice?
Well, he's dead.
He's not dead in real life,
No,
Kristian.
he's dead in the movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are flashbacks not a great storytelling device when it comes to maybe he's sitting on Grandpappy's knee?
But he's going to be too old. Nah, it makes no sense.
I just want to see him at the premiere together.
That I would like. I'm like that. He talks to him in his sleep. Tiffany, how you feel about this?
I'm excited about it. I have a little hesitation that I feel like everyone's on the Michael B. Jordan train, and everyone wants to put him in everything.
But to be fair, they got him right away. Right as Fruitvale Station came out last year, the announcement of Creed came out. This was before he was announced in Fantastic Four. Yeah. This was before a lot of stuff. So to be fair, they picked him up pretty quick.
Well, then that aside, I'm excited about it because I agree with you. I don't want to see Rocky Balboa fight. I'm interested to see if he can pull off being a more background, serious character in the film now.
Yeah, well, the thing is, this is no longer an excuse it's not taking 15 of our dollars just for nostalgic purposes anymore. It actually is a real story that you can tell with Rocky Balboa.
And you can't laugh at him like in Expendables.
Yeah.
You can still laugh a little bit. I mean, he's going to warble some lines out of there. I just want to see one montage of what Rocky's doing now. It's a Rocky music, but it's just him getting out of bed, maybe taking some vitamins, taking a leak.
Maybe he's practicing at Tetris. Because someone else.
What are you saying, Kristian?
Someone else has been practicing at Tetris, and she's sitting on the couch. She's holding a championship belt. Are you playing right now?
No, but I was playing all. And
how you doing? So for those of you who don't know why I'm bringing this up, is because Ellis is like Rain Man when it comes to Tetris.
Why would you say Rain Man instead of like Michael Jordan?
Think about it.
Because I'm more like Mike, or like Muhammad Ali, or like Bo Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Tetris doesn't really take physical ability.
No. So, I think he just proved.
Wait until you see these thumbs, sweetheart.
Just proven the Rain Man analogy. So if you go with,
I'm an excellent driver.
Now, Alicia.
Yes.
You challenged him, which you've already gone up against me in a bet, and you failed miserably. That date with Finstock's going on soon. How have you been preparing? Is this going to be an Apollo Creed story, or is this going to be a Glass Joe from the Punch-Out series story?
Could go either way. The thing is, I am terribly inconsistent, and I have no idea why I had such blind faith that I was excellent at Tetris. I actually thought I am really good.
This is actually the premise for the Tetris movie.
I was like, I'm really good at Tetris. I can beat anyone.
No, I'll tell you what it was.
And I'd never battled anyone. And then a friend was like, I'll battle you. And I was like, oh, I'm terrible.
It was you getting cocky, and just like everybody else, doesn't take me seriously. I announced on Twitter that I'm the greatest Tetris player that ever lived, and then you got Kristian over here calling me Rain Man, which is not a compliment in my
talented.
eyes. He's talented at like counting toothpicks, okay?
But he's very smart.
Playing a sport here. I'm moving blocks.
It's not a sport. It's not a sport.
All right, this is embarrassing.
It's not like real life Tetris.
When is the Tetris battle?
I played a lot. I'm going to be away for the next 2 weeks.
We've got a lot of things to take care of here. There's a couple things we need to take care of, and I don't know if it's going to happen before 2015. The first thing is...
Can I keep practicing?
You maybe. Because here's the things that have to happen before 2015. Well, the sushi thing has to happen. Because Riley and I are owed sushi from our Star Wars draft. We are owed sushi.
Absolutely.
The crew is going to take us out. It'll probably happen at the beginning of January. Let's make that happen.
I will mark that in my calendar.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
we
sir.
just got over one of our crew members almost dying of food poisoning.
That's why,
now
because he had
Chili's
into the sushi ring.
Yeah.
Sushi to me is Chili's to Riley.
That's the dopiest thing. You just proven the Rain Man thing again. Now,
sushi.
Every comment out of my mouth, you cannot retort if you sound like Rain Man. How in any earth is that what I just said? Sounding like Rain
Sushi's
Man?
bad. Sushi's bad. Chili's better. Chili's better.
What are you trying to make me do? Eat cat food?
Now that's one thing that has to happen. The Tetris battle has to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Give it a go.
The date with Finstock has to happen soon.
He's got to ask me.
He will. He'll take you. And
why don't you just compile them all into one day?
Yeah,
that
can
way
we
it's
do
like all the torture happens quickly.
Tetris, sushi,
Kristian,
yes, and then lastly,
the elephant in the room here.
The after.
Let's get this
the
thing
after
out.
hour show. We got to talk.
Yeah.
Alicia, you were not here for the after hour show, and this is for everybody to know about the after hour show. If you're just tuning in, what we're going to do? It's now December 20th. It's going to take place from around 9 to midnight. We're going to get here around 6 to drink beforehand.
And I am getting out of the state.
You're not going to be anywhere near. You're going to be gone. Yeah. The questions submitted already for Schmoeville. It is off the rails. It's going to be anything personal. It's going to be crazy. Alicia, you are going to be part of this. And you say, but you're half the reason this thing's happening. You and I came up with this thing.
Battle. I'm like sounds like a great idea, and then hang on a second.
But that's when you're being asked, because you get kind of that devious look in your face when you want to know things.
Yeah,
now, so you're pretty excited for the show. Be honest.
I want to ask the questions.
You just don't want to be asking yourself.
What's a generic question you're going to ask one of the girls? Do you have anything? I want to ask a generic question to see what the Schmoeville is.
One of the girls?
I want to think about it, and we'll come back to you because that's what I want Schmoeville to know what they're in for on the night of the 20th.
Let's get back to trick me too on the Q&A on the page. They were like, "Oh, so since you're not coming to the after hours, can we ask you stuff here?" And I was
Who would you make out with on an island? Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing about the after hours show, then we'll get back into the news for a sec. The biggest thing about the after hours show is that, as far as we know to this point, it's going to be a live broadcast on Saturday night, and we're not going to post it after that. There's a chance maybe we review the film and we put up some nuggets of it, but it's a one-time event because we don't need all of our drunken idiocy living on the internet forever.
I know, and some of the fans are like, "Well, if I live somewhere a time difference,
then we gave you a 3 weeks notice to move.
Stay up, drink a lot of coffee. That's all I can really say about that." All right, a couple other stories I want to talk to. We talked about GiJoe. No, we talked about Rocky. Let's talk about GI Joe, because we'll talk to Riley about this, who's got in touch with the Phantom, who is actually, you talk about Michael B. Jordan, nailed the scoop with him being signed for Fantastic Four. Yep. Riley, tell us a little bit about this GI Joe scoop and what are we hearing?
Well, the Phantom strikes again. Did my due diligence, checked with another source, and it is looking like there's no negotiations yet. There's talks, and they want Martin Campbell. And they're his top choice, and I think it's a great choice. Yeah, I think he can right the ship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It puts it on a different track, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It could go one of two ways, though, because if you look at the fact, Green Lantern, Casino Royale.
I think you're absolutely right,
like
Tiffany. I think if the studio gets involved like they did with Green Lantern, then he could maybe it won't be that great. Right. But I don't fault him for Green Lantern. I look at Casino Royale and even GoldenEye. Was it not GoldenEye? The earlier James Bond.
Yeah, but he just did that one. He
did Casino Royale, but he did Pierce Brosnan, GoldenEye.
Did he?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, did he do GoldenEye also?
Yes, wow. And that was Pierce Brosnan's introduction as Bond. So he's good.
I just want to make sure that Martin Campbell is not personal friends with the RZA. I just want to make sure that guy does not appear in any future G.I. Joe movies, because that turned that whole movie into a spoof for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. It just didn't work, but I think that I think both Tiffany and Riley are right here that you can have with him doing this movie, he fits into that spy genre pretty well. Yeah. You can write the ship, but it really depends on who's pushing him and how. Tiffany's right; it can go either way. Yeah. I hope it goes more. He goes to a spy, and they give him a little more freedom, and really make GI Joe towards the comics. Yes. The comic books were so much better than the TV show. Was fun, it was fine, but the comics, the stories inside of the comics, the Marvel comics were really great, and I wish that they would go back into that.
Ken does too.
Yeah. Real quick, let's get our thoughts on the Arnold Running Man story. Do you think this is a mistake?
No, not at all, because Running Man was ahead of its time as far as commentary on society and all that other crap that real critics talk about. I want to see Running Man just because I want to see what his character would do with it now. Like, who would he be? Would he be the guy that won the first Running Game, or would they just totally reboot it?
The Butcher Bakersfield.
Would it be his? Because I just see Arnold, I don't see him as just the mentor yet. I don't see him. Stallone has progressed into that, where even in the Expendables, he's training a younger crop. I don't see Schwarzenegger
some good lines
doing
in that
convincingly.
Some great lines in that.
I still get freaking weirded out at the fact that he was the governor.
Yeah. Headlights bulb.
How does that happen? And then he's doing all these reboots of his old movies. Well, it's weird.
It's just strange, but I want nothing to do with this remake. I want nothing to do with it, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it was based off a short story of Stephen King. It did what it was supposed to do in the 80s. It's one of my favorite Arnold movies. It's a great fun film. They've done it. They've done it since, and it's the Hunger Games. They've done it. They've done it since. They've done it Battle Royale.
But aren't you the guy that always complains about how the Hunger Games couldn't really be the Hunger Games unless it was rated R? This Running Man would be rated a hard R.
Oh, you think so? Like RoboCop was? Exactly. That's what I'm worried about, is that they make it then PG-13 and there's not those lines, and they don't take that fun 80s action film. So I don't know. I say pass. Schmoeville, what about you guys? Do you pass? Do you like the Running Man idea? Go ahead and comment.
Just put Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat in as Sub-Zero.
I don't care.
Well, all. Did you like the original? You didn't really like the original.
Fine.
All right.
It wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, if you're curious why we didn't talk about jobs, we actually covered it in great depth today. Mark and I were on AMC Movie Talk with John Campy. We talked about it this morning, so make sure you check that out. And Tiffany will be on AMC Movie Talk tomorrow with me.
I will, but I was raising my hands because I feel like I was one of the ones who was like, this is a terrible idea when
Jobs?
we talked about
you
it.
And me.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's
Universal's going to pick it up.
Everyone keeps bailing on it. It's one of those things where it's like, how could you make this good? No one wants to do it.
I disagree with that completely. I think that it's whatever's going on with Sony, behind the scenes, and whatever the team is, they're not vibing because the point that I brought up.
Has this happened where it's like, oh, this person drops out, this person's in, this person drops out, that it ends up being a good movie.
You want to hear about a movie that franchise that had a lot of problems that got pitched around and the script didn't work and they wanted to do this and it didn't and it went to one studio, that studio didn't want it, bounced around.
Oh, I know,
It's
Rain Man.
called Lord of the Rings.
Well, that's different though.
No, it is.
Yes.
Okay, because you like that movie.
There was someone tied to it the whole time. Like Peter Jackson was always involved.
Well, so's Danny Boyle now, and Sorkin though. But Sorkin's been involved since
I think it's a great story that Aaron Sorkin can tell, but I'd like to say I do win the bet that Christian Bale's not going to win an Oscar for.
I would like to make a bet right now with you about this movie being good or bad. I will.
So Ken, is this a smart move?
Speaking for your father, Rick Smith, don't do any more bets with Kristian.
Do you want to make a bet with me right now?
But see, I would say that it's going to be bad. But
why don't you guys talk about the bet of the break?
No. I got the bet. All right. Well, after the break. After the break, I've got the bet, and we'll
talk about it during the break.
I know what I'm gonna ask you to do. So when we get back, we are going to be joined by director Lexi Alexander. I'm very excited to talk to her, and Alicia Malone, I'm sure, is very excited to speak to her as well. Mark Ellis, Kristian Arloff, Tiffany Smith, Schmoes Know Movies. Keep tweeting in, and check us out on YouTube too, you skunks.
Hey guys, Maria Menounos here, and I want to share my newest book, The Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, with you. Basically, every woman always stops me and asks me how I lost 40 pounds, so I decided to put it all in one book. Everything I did to lose 40 pounds step by step, and how you can too, is in here. I did it with no time, no money, and no willpower, and now I'm going to show you how to do it too. You can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, wherever books are sold, and it's out June 3rd. So I hope you guys love it. I hope it helps you in your weight loss journey, and please, please tweet me and update me on your progress at Maria Menounos. Thanks.
What's up, Schmoeville? It's me, the Wild Man, Josh McCouga. You guys know me from the podcast and Wild Man TV, but did you also know I have my own talk show? It's called Between the Sheets. I bring on comedians, TV personalities, adult stars, and we talk about everything, but mostly sex. So go to my YouTube channel, The Casual Mafia, subscribe, and see every episode of Between the Sheets. We done? Yeah, I'll be right there, sweet.
Hello, Schmoeville.
I'm Alicia Malone.
And I'm Scott Mance.
And we are from Profiles with Malone and Mance, an excellent show that you should all be checking out.
Every week on Profiles with Malone and Mance, we are going to look at our favorite directors, our favorite filmmakers, our favorite actors, all sorts of fun trivia. We're going to count down the best movies. What else we got on the show?
Fun guests. Lots of surprises.
A little trivia, a little quiz show action going on.
Have we convinced you yet? I hope so. If we have, please look up Profiles with Malone and Mance on iTunes. Subscribe, rate and review, and make sure to subscribe to YouTube/Schmoes Know Podcast for all the great podcasts that are happening on this network, but especially Profiles.
Profiles with Malone and Mance every week on the Schmoes Know Network.
Stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, screenwriting, radio, acting, professional wrestling, love, life. Ken Napzok, the producer of the Schmoes Know podcast, has failed at all of these things, but his friends haven't. So join Ken as he makes his wonderful friends your friends, including some of your favorite Schmoes Know characters as they discuss life, the universe, and everything on The Napzok Files. Available on Stitcher and iTunes. Hashtag The Napzok Files to join the conversation.
So we go now?
What up, Schmoeville?
What's up, Schmoeville? It's Josh McCouga here.
Steve Simone.
We are the hosts of Guilty Movie Pleasures here on the Schmoes Know Network.
And it's pretty much the funnest show ever.
Because we just talk about the best movies ever?
Yes, exactly. Movies where explosions, there aren't supposed to be explosions, and karate kicks where they just might not be.
Yeah, but every time you watch them, it makes you happy.
Exactly. So, tune into us, subscribe to our channel, rate us, like us on iTunes.
5 stars.
All the time. And like Jack Burton said,
what you gonna do, Schmoeville, when Makuga and Simone run wild on you?
When I'm bringing us back from break, I can never guess what the music is. I
think it's Interstellar.
Sounds like Friday Night Lights.
I always say Interstellar.
That's really tough.
It's from Pain and Gain.
Is it from Pain and Gain? It's from Pain and Gain.
I'm not going to get that.
Yeah. What band is it? There's like one group.
What band is it?
There's one group that did all the music for Friday Night Lights.
It's the Danny Elfmans. That wasn't Friday Night Lights. It was.
No, I know, but I'm saying if it was the same.
Oingo
group.
boingo, Tiff.
All right.
Welcome back to the Schmoes Know Movie Show here. That's Kristian. I'm Mark. Next week we're going to be dark, right? We're just going to take a week off for Thanksgiving. If you're in the Cleveland area, I'll be at Cleveland Hilarities Friday through Sunday. So when you get sick of your family, if you're in Ohio, come out, see me do some stand-up.
Actually, you're taking it off for my birthday. Let's be honest.
That's true.
When's your birthday?
The 29th.
Ah, awesome. And what's your name?
Shut up.
Oh, you're so cute.
All right, stop that. Guys, I am very excited here to be joined by our next guest, and I love the way that it went down. And Lexi, first of all, let me introduce Director Lexi Alexander. Hi, Lexi, how are you?
Hi, thank you.
Now, I don't know if you're able to listen to the show on the way over, but what I said is I admire from anybody, Moxie. And reading your tweets, reading everything that hearing your interviews, like you are not someone who is afraid to speak their mind, and I admire it very much so.
It's Tourette's, really.
It's Tourette's. Well, you've joined the right crew. Now, I want to tell, so a lot of Schmoeville and a lot of the crew might not know how this all came to be. So what I want to do is I want to let Mark Ellis kind of take us through this journey of
Before
what...
or after slap him?
We're gonna
let's go and get a slap in.
What happened? How is Lexi with us? How are we lucky enough to have her?
I saw a quote from director Lexi Alexander when we were live on AMC Movie Talk last week, and it was in regards to the Wonder Woman director, and if it was a woman, the gist of it was how much pressure it would put on a woman, and that it's almost too much because if that movie fails, then probably people are going to blame a female director. Okay. And so what I said on the show is that I think that that you should go after that you should like the stakes, that you should go after something like that where there's such high tension, and that if you knock it out of the park, it's going to be great. So I was trying to be positive, and it came off as that I was attacking Lexi.
Well, let's take it from Lexi's perspective of how she.
Let me put this woman in her place, Kristian.
I don't think you'd be able to do that.
Wouldn't it be funny if I just slap him off his chair right now?
You don't want her to slap you. I'm telling you.
I know her background in martial arts.
Yes. Now, Lexi, what did you call him on Twitter? Because I loved it. It was from the Nickelodeon show.
Dennis the Menace?
No, JT, show the picture. JT, throw the picture up there because I didn't know what it was, and I was wondering is she referring to Ellis? And I did a Google image search of the character she was talking about. And JT's going to throw the picture up there in a second. And when you see it, it's hysterical.
And now I'm blanking on his name, but it did look like
I knew immediately who he was talking about when Nickelodeon. I knew immediately who you were talking about.
It's from the Disney Channel. It's from Recess.
Recess. Yes, exactly.
His name is TJ Detweiler.
That's right. So, first of all, Lexi, thank you for the
comparison before.
And as soon as
it did look like it that day, right?
Yeah,
I did.
He has a hat on.
I try to half and half the backwards hat and not. It just makes me comfortable. And what
the backwards hat is kind of over at 20, right?
See,
honestly, you gotta wear it like these guys.
This is what I get from everybody else, but I look so adorable in a backwards hat. Here's the worst thing about her calling me
Just
TJ.
like TJ.
It had nothing to do with the hat. It had everything to do with the fact that he's like a chubby kid, and I was a fat kid, so I always have that fat kid mentality.
But I want to hear from Lexi here. Not only so you hear this comment, and I know that whole week must have been a pain in the ass. Take us through that week. First of all, take us through your.
I'm dying about this week. Like I literally, I was
sick of it already.
First of all, I always get into trouble. The Tourette's gets me into trouble.
Just no filter.
But this week I was actually so happy because it distracted from the Wonder Woman thing. Because it just was wild because there's a guy who asked me for an interview, and his name is Eric Alt from a Fast Company. Lovely guy. He said, can we talk a little bit about piracy, which is really file sharing, which is kind of an issue I represent. And so I said, absolutely. But then in it, he also asked me about these lists that have come up. Now, people assume, and this is the part that hurt me about it, because they think I turned this into like a Kardashian moment, and I don't know.
Posed with the picture and stuff?
Well, I guess now Kardashian moments are different. Well, not a moment like that, but like a PR kind of thing. Like, I wished I would have the skill to do that. I just learned how to tweet.
You're great at it.
Yeah. But today I tried to connect my website to my Twitter account, and it was a disaster.
Oh, get Riley on the case. Get
Riley, help him
with
out.
the hat.
Yeah, I ended up tweeting stuff I didn't want to tweet. It was a nightmare.
But
anyway, so it's not my thing to turn this. But what happened is I come up on these lists, and one actually I was really flattered about. I pop up on a lot of like blogs, and these are all young guys who put me on this list, and I think that's worth mentioning, that these are young comic book fans, mostly male, who put me out there. And I think that because a lot of the executives and studio heads are so not progressive, I think it should be mentioned.
You think still that's the case? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, let me put it to you this way. There's not 4% of women directed films in 2013 because women don't want to direct. Anybody who thinks that is out of their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
It would basically mean that more women want to be combat soldiers or in any position in Iraq or Afghanistan than direct. It's just a lie. I don't want to, I'm frankly done with gender equality. They can all like kiss my bottom at this point on both sides. But I'm always for like, I'm for, if the odds, that's what the odds are, fine. But let's not pretend we're actually doing something.
See, that's a great point too. And what I didn't like about what I did on AMC is that I stand by what I said in reacting to that quote. And I just did the same thing the week before, where you see in the sports world, you see somebody take something out of context. They take a quote out of context, then they rail on that specific quote, and it becomes this whole other thing. And that's what I didn't, because I was the jackass that didn't see the entire quote.
Can I ask you that, because for those, because the entire quote was taken out of context, and and you haven't really been able to speak on it, I guess. Maybe you have or have not.
No, I haven't. I didn't actually. I was talking to
We have a pulpit for you.
Well, no, that's why I'd like you to be able to, especially to tell the backwards hat kid here and to everybody else what it was that was taken out of context.
Eric in this interview asked me what I think about these lists that pop up, and I said I love these guys doing it, and he asked me like, do you actually want to direct Wonder Woman? And I said, oh no, I don't want to direct it, because now this is the part I either said it and it was edited, or most likely I didn't say it, because I figured that's obvious. But because I have been fairly outspoken on this issue, I'm one of the very, very few women who directors who out there working who's outspoken on this, because most women are afraid, because then you have the chip on your shoulder. Because I am this outspoken, and I sometimes do panels on it and blogs, for me individually, to go in and carry this, I'm going to make Wonder Woman succeed, and I'm going to show everybody that female directors can do comic book movies. I can't do it. I would buckle under the pressure, on that film. But if you give me a film with 100 guys slapping the shit out of each other, I wouldn't be bothered at all. Those are the things I do.
Steve Hogan.
It's just that the Wonder Woman, that the idea that, finally we get her. We didn't get the Joss Whedon one, but now we're getting her. And then you walk in and you have to top them all. Like, to me, I'm telling you though that Michelle McLaren probably doesn't give a shit, because she's not, she doesn't do what I do. Like, I unfortunately opened Pandora's box with this one blog I wrote at the beginning of the year, and regrettably so. And so now it's a different issue. It's a whole different psychological, from a fighter's point of view. Your mentality as you step on the mat really matters. If it doesn't matter to Michelle, and she doesn't has that thing in her head, I have to succeed for female comic book characters, I have to succeed for female directors, she won't think about it. I will. Yeah. That's it.
Just different approaches from different people.
Well, I think the same thing could go for a male director, where it's like a guy could come in and think, oh my God, I need to tell this female story that all of these women are looking at. So it really is just, I feel like sex should be taken out of the issue, and it's like whoever can tell the best story.
Okay, can I tell you something about that, though?
Yeah.
See, this is what confuses the young guys. Somebody said the other day, imagine if somebody said we need a black director for Black Panther. Well, actually, people have said that, and
absolutely.
rightly so. And it's not an insult. Why? Because there is so few black directors and there's so few women directors in the feature world, definitely in the superhero world, that we are now, what's basically happened is like, okay, you're cutting us out of all the stuff because they're male. Okay, but you can't cut us out of the female stuff as well.
Yeah.
And the same is what the black directors are saying, is they're saying, you can't on top of it. Let me explain it to you this way. I'm always pissed off when gay actors who come out don't get cast as straight men anymore, even though they're still great actors, but very rarely that they get cast as straight actors. But now, if you're actually taking a gay story or a gay character and casting a straight guy so that he can win an Oscar for it, because look at that straight guy, he played so great. Now you're pissing me off.
It's a great point. Yeah.
Well,
I think
Fincher. To be fair, I agree with you, but to be fair to Fincher, I know that doesn't happen often. But Fincher just did it with Neil Patrick Harris. But maybe it's a different trend. It does. You're right, but I'm just saying it does.
Did they cast him as a straight or as?
He was straight. He plays the affection. Right.
But that doesn't often happen.
No,
to be
it
fair,
doesn't
that
often
character
happen.
wasn't really anything. He just liked to have sex with a couch, for all we know. That was a weird dude in that movie.
All I'm saying is what I'm hoping is that there is a chance for progressive thinking down the line too. If that happened, then because I think a lot of times what people will say is exactly what you said, and I agree with you. But I think there are times, and if people are willing to change, if that one thing happens, it can change a chain event. Like if more people start putting, say, Neil Patrick Harris or other gay actors, or more women, not just doing like the Wonder Woman films, but like.
No, I actually think it's bad what's happened. I think putting a black actor now with all power, finding a black director who, first of all, wants to do the Black Panther movie, right. and doesn't have this thing like, oh my God, now I'm going to really have to show that we're equally good. Like women always have to think that. Now for us to come and do. You know how much it pisses me off that every time a project comes out where women kick ass, Expendables, Lexi Alexander, and then I actually go with it because when the bloggers do it and the fans do it, I want to go with it. Then I read the script and it's about hookers. And I'm like, okay, I hope nobody ever mentions me again. Yeah. Luckily, that executive actually hates me.
Oh, really?
So it was perfect.
It was like, I heard that Kelly Sue DeConnick, who's a comic book writer, she was doing an interview and she talked about the fact that she's like, people always say to me, why do you keep doing these characters that are women? Why do you feel like you're getting pigeonholed? And she's like, no, because I am a woman and I want these stories to be told in an incredibly good way, and I'm a good writer, so I'm going to keep telling good stories. Right. And that, to me, when I heard that, I was like, wow, like I could see the perspective where some girls would think it's, getting put in a pigeonhole where it's like, I'm a woman, so I have to do all these women's films. But at the same time, it's like there should be more women doing them because they should just be given the opportunity just as much as men are.
Where we should be is that the best person gets the gig. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is my opinion. Like, look, none of my movies have ever passed the Bechdel test. I mean, I'm the worst. And by the way, I have a really tough time writing women. I'm fascinated by guys. I spent two years on a bus with stinky karate fighters, who kind of ignored the fact that I was a girl. So that's why I wrote Queen Street. That's why I did Johnny Flinton. It was about a boxer. Like, that's my world. I have a friend named Rodrigo Garcia who writes beautiful about women. I could never write like he does about women.
Why is that? Why? What is?
Well, maybe because he has 3 daughters.
No, but for you, why is it so hard for you to write for women?
I ask myself that because now I'm this, this like
you're an activist,
poster girl feminist, and people are like, how can we get better female characters? I'm like, have you seen my films? Like right. But I know it's an issue because yes, we're actually not represented well. But it's actually not my strength, and I have to, like, as I'm sitting there writing someone, I have to think, like, okay, do I make her kick-ass, or do they all have to be kick-ass? It's difficult because the default character and hero has been a white male, and that's what we're battling. And the young guys need to understand, okay, when this comes up, Wonder Woman needs a woman, Black Panther needs a black director. When this comes up, these are not great options. These are remedy options. Right. That's where we're at.
Well, I know I can feel Alicia chomping at the bit over here. Now, Alicia, Alicia fights your cause, and I believe a lot of the same things. She was very excited to hear you come on. Alicia, I know you had a couple questions for Lexi. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I agree with you because every time I point out how few female directors there are in the studio system, the tweet that I get back from people is, well, maybe they're just not interested.
Well, I'm just going to slap everybody who says that, really.
Yeah.
They should understand we graduate at parity now from film school.
That's what I was going to say. It's 50% women and men who graduate from film school, so as if 95% of that said, I'm not interested anymore.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Not viable at all. So I'm just wondering, for you, behind the scenes, what kinds of things do you come up against as a woman?
I mean,
you can have another sip of your beer before you talk about this.
It's listen, when I started and I heard Spike Jonze speaking out about black directors, my instant thought was, geez, he's making films. Why doesn't he shut up and forget about this chip on his shoulder, okay? That's my attitude. So I know what people are thinking when I'm saying it, okay? Discrimination is incredibly hard to understand when you're not experiencing it. I've never experienced. I trained Marines and nobody was discriminating to me. I've only experienced it in Hollywood. And to a degree that is so outrageous, I can't even tell you.
Without giving any names, can you give us a type of example so we know what you're talking about?
Well, first of all, let's put it this way. I can say this because Catherine Hardwicke, when at some point in a documentary, said she wanted to go and interview for the fighter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was it the fighter? Yeah, the fighter, right?
Mark Wahlberg.
David O. Russell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they said to her, what she doesn't know is, so did I, okay? So they said to her, no, they definitely want a man for this one. So she went public on this. Now, that's because it's about boxing. But then I have to watch as David O. Russell gets the job. Can you imagine? I fucking killed a guy in the ring.
You could beat up David O. Russell.
I'm joking now, but that's an issue. I know more. I know everything about boxing there's to know.
So technicality.
I was nominated for an Oscar for a 40-minute film about the boxer.
Yeah.
It just sucks, Yeah. And so we get told this all the time. Young adult started. Catherine Hardwicke turns young adult into a great genre that makes a shitload of money. Catherine Hardwicke's out. Then look at the row of, there's actually a Tumblr, I think it's called Hollywood Boys Club Tumblr or something like that. Somebody made a whole row of what then happened, and it's like one white guy after another. All young adult about teenage girls.
Yeah. Can I play just the devil's advocate on one side there too? Because I
hate the devil's advocate.
But not that I disagree with what you're saying, but what was going back to what you said before about the person getting the right person for the job. Now, what if someone was to say that you and David O. Russell had the meetings, and yes, you knew enough about boxing, but David O. Russell was the one who really got the story and the characters and knew the overall arc of it. It's not just because he was a man.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be lovely, except I didn't get the meeting.
Yeah.
Neither did Catherine Hardwicke, because we're women. And I'm pretty sure, look, it's probably Mark Wahlberg is a Catholic guy from Boston. I'm sure he didn't want a woman directing him. There's a lot of actors who don't women. A big actor once said to his producers, I don't want, I had the job. They told me I had the job. And then this guy said, I don't want a woman directing. Yeah. This happens. You don't understand what happens. That is
out of control.
We don't. And the best part about that is there was 5 producers on this movie. They then apologized to me, apologized to my agents. And then one of the producers met my previous producer from Green Street at one of those parties, Hollywood parties. He told her, but you know what? She gave us such great notes on the script. We're using all her notes.
Oh, God. Wow.
Well, the crazy thing is, when you were talking about it and you were saying you're not good at writing female characters, I'm like, but you are a female, so you could write from your perspective because you are a woman. There's this...
Yeah, but that would all be very angry.
But but you're it's crazy to me that where it's you hear stuff where people say fight like a girl or do this like a girl, where there's this genre where it's supposed to be this is what a female character is. But no, you are a female, so your story or your character, that story needs to be told too. A woman needs to be told from your perspective.
I personally think if that's not my thing, it's very hard to do something that's not your thing.
Yeah.
If I don't hear the voices, and maybe, look, my shrink thinks it has to do with it. Seriously, she thinks it's a self-loathing thing, and that may be, but the point is, I'm excited, and Green Street was my type of film. Making films about a boxer is my type of film. Right now, I'm thinking about these as a writer and director, these stories pop into your head, and so, the stories popped into my head right now is about martial arts, and it's all guys, and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to explain that to the people?
Is it MMA film or is it just a martial arts film? I don't want you to give away the plot.
Yeah, it's just somebody. Yeah, it's martial arts, not necessarily about the sport, but somebody kicking ass.
Let me ask you this: How does this problem get remedied in your eyes? Because it clearly is an issue.
To remedy it.
Yeah, but if somebody knocks out. If somebody crushes a movie and it's a female director, how many good movies do they have to make? I mean, because I'm all for equality. I think the best person available should get the job, or the person that knows the most about the material. I want everybody to have an equal shot. How does does a female director making a great Wonder Woman film elevate that?
Maybe Catherine Hardwicke doing Twilight did nothing but put all men in young adult. I mean, we had we have an issue. I'm about to stop talking about this forever because I'm so pissed off that people don't understand. We have an issue. You're right. I had this discussion with a fellow director the other day. Nobody wants, there to be a situation where directors come in and then 19 get disregarded because they're white male, and either a black one or a woman or a Latino get the gig. Nobody wants to be at that point. But when we get to the point where we have marginalized certain groups for so long, you have to remedy it. This is how I really woke up to this issue. Was I was writing a script for a friend of mine about computer science and computer coding, and it was about a woman who actually, because she had like a unisex name, she got a job that she couldn't get forever because they misread her resume. And so I wrote this story for her. And as I'm researching this, I'm thinking, holy shit! There's an MIT professor who says it's a really dangerous situation if science doesn't have the female point of view. But Hollywood doesn't give a shit, frankly. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to.
It's okay. Fuck
they told me I'm not supposed to.
It doesn't matter anymore.
This is a bad idea to have me on a show.
No,
I think if you let us talk about this issue for 20 minutes like what you did, and I know that you're blue in the face talking about it. We're really appreciative that you came on the show.
Do want to
and so for that you can say shit as many times as you like.
I do want to explain. Let me
totally.
and then we switch to something else. Like maybe we should talk about soccer or something.
No,
I have Punisher questions.
I want to go. There's another tweet that you put out today that I'm curious about, but please go ahead.
Go ahead, ask me about that tweet.
I wanted to know there was a back and forth with you and Devin Faraci today.
I love his brother.
So what can you tell? Devin Faraci from Badass Digest. Can you tell me what happened there?
He's just an idiot. I don't mind him. Like, I think he's a character. I can't even take his anger serious.
Yeah.
No, I mean honestly, I can't.
What was it all about?
Okay, so it's the problem is that debating people with a low IQ is hard for me. No, I mean, the people just...
I appreciate you talking to me then. Yeah, that makes me feel good.
I mean, when we talk about piracy, it is so... First of all, don't fucking call it piracy. I'm writing a blog, and this is what kills me, right? So all these guys are subtweeting, and at some points, there's always... This is the thing with fans. At some point, somebody will say, look, Lexi, what Devin is saying. Look, Lexi, what such and such is saying. And I'm like, now I've seen it. I can't unsee it, Yeah. But...
is that what's tough about Twitter now? Now that you're on, you gotta go because you're a pit bull.
It's almost like you get roped into these situations, right? I mean,
always.
So people, all they have to do is include your handle, and then all of a sudden now you're thrown in the middle of this debate.
Just before I came here, I'm seeing this go and the speech and Obama, and I'm seeing 10 Hollywood liberals go all gaga over the fact that our president says we were all immigrants once. You fucking asshole! Sorry.
It doesn't matter. Don't even worry about it.
This is a person saying this who actually thinks it's okay that Exodus is all cast with white people in
I've been talking about this.
I'm half Arabic, so I have issues on all ends. But this is a nightmare for me. It's blackface. Shut up! Don't release the film. And why is this even still happening? So I'm like, I could just not tweet this. And then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna. It's a struggle.
I love that. I love how true she is because she knows that there's going to be a backlash, that something's going to happen. But it's you have to make the point.
Backlash.
But that's what happened with Devin was because I want to get into this. You brought the piracy thing because you're a big advocate of it. I want to hear your.
Well, I'm not an advocate of piracy. Here's the issue: we have file sharing. It's like the VCR. It's like. if you study history, we have always, entertainment and music has always fought every invention. We have fought radio, then we have fought TV, then we have fought the tape. There was a big, I don't know if some of you guys remember this. I may be the oldest in the room, I'm not sure.
Ken's
but remember when all of a sudden the music industry made all these posters that had that cassette tape on, and it said home taping is killing music, and then the Dead Kennedys went out and put a different tape out and said, no, it's just killing the music industry. Here's your
video killed the radio star.
Correct. And it goes on, and now file sharing is out, and yes, it's slightly bigger because it's on the internet, but we've got to embrace it, because here's why. This is our audience. They're the millennials. That's what they do, and you can't shit on it.
It's a delivery system. It's just like everything else has always been. It's a way to deliver media to somebody who doesn't have it.
Correct, but they also feel like we used to feel with a mixtape. They feel that it's okay for them to tape a song off the radio. I used to do it in the 80s.
I had a lot of
mixtapes. Got a lot of people laid.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the reason why it's got a mixtape in it.
And who didn't, like every show every week on VHS? I remember like we had to buy entire cupboards that fit the VHS. So it's not and even if I would hate it, it's not going away. You stupid idiots.
Right.
Stop fighting it.
So it's kind of like what happened with no, it doesn't matter at this point. With Napster back, and instead of what they had to do, they regulated it. Now with iTunes and all that stuff.
But what happened in there? Have you seen the documentary? It's a great documentary called Downloaded by Alex Winder, and I watched that. And when you watch it, is the kid Sean Fanning who invented file sharing, really comes from really humble backgrounds. I mean, there's no reason. The kid just has a high IQ. He invented this. And after all of this Napster and the trials, and Metallica went after them, and the music industry, he, at the end of the documentary, when he was shut down, he just sits there, plays the guitar, and literally doesn't talk to anybody. You literally kind of killed his soul. Cut to Amazon and iTunes makes $5.2 billion. See, this is my issue. The industries don't want to stop these innovations. They just want to control them. They don't want some kid to get rich of that. And that's what I don't like about it, you know? It's not like it's ever going away and they knew it. And what did Metallica have to do? Metallica, who was so public about fighting them, had to backtrack and suck up again. And by the way, all these screenwriters, if you're listening, subtweeting shit about your audience, you better be careful, because there's going to be a lot of like butt kissing to do soon.
Now this is
you can watch the Schmoes Know Show for free on YouTube.
Right. Well, no, but Lexi, here, and we're getting a lot of tweets. People are loving what you're saying here, and the reason again I say Moxie, and I also think that. Is it a bit dangerous sometimes, even though not this show and things, what you're saying, the fact that you obviously believe in this stuff too, is it dangerous for you because you do, for your career and what you want to do, that sometimes you find that doors might be shut now because you're so outspoken, and maybe do you think sometimes, maybe I should wait, get to that spot to where, a Catherine Bigelow or whatever, then I can really
Well, Catherine Bigelow doesn't speak out at all, precisely probably because of that. And look, if I could actually look in the mirror at night, seeing all this and analyzing it, some people can turn it off, and that's okay. I'm not saying everybody has to be like me. Except me, it's killing me. And I believe that actually this is not the happiest industry. People are fucking throwing themselves off bridges, taking too many drugs after making hit comic book movies and killing themselves. I mean, it's not like we are all the healthiest people on the planet. And I think this industry breeds fear, and it's just sometimes so ugly, I can't stand it. I did that. I did all of I'm never going to say anything about that. I'm never going to say anything about that. And I felt that it was killing me. And I also think, look, on Lionsgate, there's all these rumors about how difficult I am. And, it's...
What is that? Why is that?
Well, to be honest, I barely had anything to do with Marvel because they were not that involved. And until the movie came out, we were always Kevin Feige.
We're talking about Punisher.
Warzone,
Kevin Feige and I were always emailing each other. And then, when your film bombs, like kind of nobody wants to have anything to, never mind, it wasn't your fault, but whatever. But that's like everybody kind of like erases you from their cell phone list, And so there was no issue there. The big issue I had was with the marketing department at Lionsgate. And frankly, frankly, yeah. I mean, I at some point I got into it with them, but there wasn't like people made up the stuff like the rating. No, they were okay with the hard rating. Right. That's what they wanted. There wasn't even like, at some point I got pissed off in the beginning because they every day kept like, oh, you have 2 million less. Oh, there's actually 2 million less. It just kept getting lower and lower. So, but compared to, I have friends who are directors, and I have friends who work with different directors all the time, and they all said to me, and they wouldn't lie about this, they said, look, of all the people, you're the least high maintenance. I work my ass off on the movie. I do fight for, I didn't want this release date in Christmas. It turns out it was the right battle to fight. I just lost, But that turned into difficult. So as we always say, there's a bunch of female filmmakers say, we can sneeze in the wrong direction and we're difficult. It's always like that, okay? So at some point I was like, doors are gonna shut, I might as well be loud. If I'm well behaved, getting a reputation as difficult, fuck it, I might as well just
I love Lexi
straight.
Alexander. This is like the perfect, we need more people like you giving the voice. Whether you agree or disagree, and I happen to agree with a lot of the points you're making, this is like important. You're doing important shit here. And by the way, Lexi is very easy to work with. She drove here by herself. She brought us beer. She actually delivered beer to the studio.
That's true.
And she will do that to your movie set if you will have her.
Yeah, it's true. I know, absolutely.
Well, I gotta say this. There is actually, because every time I say something like this, all of a sudden scripts come in. There's also a certain script in certain movie I don't do anymore, know?
Like, because
Punisher was so brutal. I get a lot of I have this film and 20 people die on page 1 with machetes. I'm like, no, actually, I didn't.
That scene was awesome.
But that's also where it's like, that character is that way. If it were done any other way, you're like, this is not doing justice to the comic book that people.
Yeah, the name of the comic's The Punisher.
Yeah,
he is a badass.
You had to do it like that. We're working with Ray also.
Ray Stevenson, the best Punisher.
That, by the way, that was Kevin Feige. That was his right away from the first
meeting. Kevin Feige wanted Ray? Yeah.
Where he said, you should look at that. And he didn't say you need to cast that. He was very polite. He said, you should look at a guy named Ray Stevenson from Rome. I hadn't watched Rome.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I
Rome
went home.
so
I said,
good.
oh my God, he looks just like him, right? And so I said, yeah, absolutely.
Now, were you a fan of the Punisher comics? No, you didn't. So
I also passed on the project at least 3 times.
So you got the job. You studied up on it. And you learned more about.
They actually offered it to at least 5 other directors before me.
What made you pass on it the first couple of reads?
I don't read comic books.
Yeah.
That was it.
I don't have a fucking clue. Asterix and Obelix.
Right. So
I kept saying to them too.
But you said that because of the brutal film. Now, and you said you're not a comic book fan. Does that mean because of everything, and not just because of the Wonder Woman thing that we just went through, but would you be up for doing another comic book movie, or
yes.
you would?
Here's why. Because I've actually looked into it. Now, the one thing about Wonder Woman was this: I make one mentioning about Wonder Woman, I think that nobody will ever hear this. And my mother calls me because it's made European headlines. So there's some power in these characters. And obviously, that's why the studio's making these films. They have huge brand recognition. Right. And in a time where we have really lost our understanding of how to market. See, when I grew up, and maybe some of you, the way you would find out what movie is playing on the weekend is you open a paper. And now a family of 4, the kid goes to 5 different internet websites or mobile. The older teenager has, maybe 10 other options. The parents don't even look at the paper anymore. All 4 have a different thing. Where do we market this film? Right. It takes Avatar type money to really market the film and get it into the collective consciousness. This is why we then have films like Battleship or Bazooka Joe or anything that's with a Snow White and the Huntsman. Anything you can put a brand on it that makes it easier, they buy. I just keep thinking, what else could we possibly do with Hansel and Gretel? This is the kind of this is the kind of thinking you have to have. So the comic book world is indeed, it's got some power behind it, and that's why they're making these films. So if I'm saying, okay, is there, and also because there's a lot of obviously fans of Punisher, Punisher is, I can actually see the residual checks. Once Patton Oswalt took it on and turned it into whatever, he, and we went on the podcast and he put it in his festival, look, I can see in the residual checks that film, even though it's on every piracy site on the planet, it sells a lot of shit, it makes a lot of money. That is a big movie and a popular movie. There's people who hate it. It's hated and loved, but it did really well.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: if you ever got approached, and again, you don't have to say. I know you're not going to mince words. I'm here in the studio. If you ever get asked to direct,
don't say anything about DC or Marvel. I will kill you. This is going to open all.
If you ever get asked to direct a live-action film of Recess, do I have a shot at getting cast?
Yes. He does.
As like an adult TJ, he goes forward in time to see what he's about to be.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you about DC or Marvel, but I am going to ask you about Star Wars, because the reason I bring up Star Wars is because
she takes a deep breath.
Yes, and the reason I asked you about Star Wars.
Poetry on that now?
Well, not only because I'm a giant fan of the properties, is because what they're doing now, and they're connecting the universe through everything, whether it be comics and novels and everything they do, the cartoons, they're all connecting to a timeline. And one of the main things, Jenna Bush, Alicia Malone herself, Maude Garrett, they've all been advocates as far as more women involvement in the Star Wars universe. And so what I'm curious is, would you have an interest in directing a Star Wars film? Is that an interest in a universe that interests you, and would you ever be up for doing it?
It's a tough question because, it's mythology, of course, but it's like, see, this is almost going to make me cry now. So you think
I get emotional around Star Wars too.
Well, no, because people actually, I think there's general people in the public who think this is an option. You have better chances becoming president of the U.S. than I have getting on Star Wars. It's not an option. I'm not on those lists, and it just isn't.
Well, I don't. See,
I want to be more optimistic about this.
Yeah, see, you know this world. You've been in this world, but I don't know if I believe that.
Oh.
I don't know if I believe it. And again, you're in it. You're in the trenches. I'm not. I'm on the reporting side of it, and I'm interviewing you. But I think because of all, with Kathleen Kennedy running the ship over there, I do think there's an option for Lexi Alexander to be directing one of the many Star Wars films that are coming out.
I can't even get in the door if I want to do Hunger Games.
No, why is that? Why is that?
It's there's lists. It's because listen, a friend of mine, Adam Green, who does Hatchet, director, great young director. Mm-hmm. We had this conversation, and he actually said something that didn't leave me for a long time, because really that's the point of the problem is transparency. Nobody in the public knows what's going on. There's lists inside the studio. There's a list of approved writers and directors. And some of them will never be on it.
How do you get on that list? How do you?
There's no rhyme or reason. They will just at some point say, this person is elevated to be on our list, and then you're on the list. And then you hear like, such and such made it on the Warner list.
Do you have to make that martial arts film? It kicks like an incredible
amount. I made that film. See,
but I'm saying the one that you were talking about. Let's say you make that one, it destroys, it becomes like a cult classic. Everyone loves it. It's revered, and then you get on that list. Is that what happens?
No, because here's what happened when Green Street, Green Street came out. I started with a short film, that was about a boxer and that signed with a big agency. They thought this would get me work, and it didn't. Then I said, okay, I'm going to go out and I make this film because I always wanted to do this about my time with hooligans. So I made that. That won a shitload of prizes. I remember being in South by Southwest. It was the first film, I believe, that won both audience and jury award. Didn't get picked up for distribution, even though everybody could see like what the audience's reaction was, right? So they did this small self-separate distribution. The producers turned into this huge cult, but all the reviewers wrote, the end line was always, Hollywood will be knocking on her door. Cut to 2 years later, where it's either I take the Punisher or go to Starbucks and work.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like people understand. They just don't. And I'm good in the room, and I give good interviews, and people actually use my notes.
You've been so boring so far.
Well, so but again, don't people think this as I was whining? See, people take this as whining. It's not like, but what hurts me is like, you ask me if I want to do Star Wars. Who doesn't? I fucking would freak out if somebody would say if I'm even have a chance for it, but it's not the reality.
I also think there's something to be said for like Green Street Hooligans is one of my favorite films, and seeing Charlie Hunnam and Elijah Wood play those characters where it's like both of them, I think, coming into that film, you would never have known they could have gone to as dark of a place as they went, which I think says a heck of a lot about your directing because you pulled that stuff out of them. Do you think that that's something that Hollywood should really look at, where it's like, look,
it would be nice.
Totally different.
Kurt Sutter is on almost every radio. He says, I found Charlie in Green Street, right? I had to fight for him for 3 months. For 3 months, people would tell me, don't cast this guy. He's Nicholas Nickleby. He was only known Nicholas Nickleby in Queer as Folk. Nobody saw him. I remember one agent at William Morris being brutal to me and saying, "You're making a massive mistake casting Charlie Hunnam." He was at William Morris at the time. This was a riot. And then the other agent told me I'm making a massive mistake casting Elijah Wood. It was a nightmare. But anyway, I stood by those guys. Charlie specifically, I actually wanted Jake Gyllenhaal, I remember, over Elijah.
Alicia likes that.
Yeah.
She's a fan.
But Elijah had just come off Lord of the Rings, so there was foreign sales numbers, blah, blah. But Charlie I fought for hard. And the film comes out, and everybody says he's like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, and it turns into a whole career. And there's sometimes executives say you can make young men look really hard. But yeah, it's never turned into a job. It's turned into a job for Charlie, though.
Yeah, well,
That's crazy. That is really crazy.
Well, no, I'm curious now, too, because you know the way you were just talking about before with how people find things online. And do you think that it's a possibility with maybe someone finding, whether it be Hooligans or The Punisher, that it could lead to more opportunities and jobs? Or do you think it is because you are also that you know that you're out there and you're putting down your opinion that it's harder for you? I'm just trying to figure out.
No, because here's why. Because I, in all that time between Green Street and Punisher, when I didn't get any, I interviewed for Wanted. I interviewed for, I mean, you cannot imagine. I interviewed for every film you can imagine, based on a hot movie, okay? Right. So that time I had never spoken about anything. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't get me to.
He missed. The cops are taking another picture of Lexi.
Sorry, I was flipping somebody off. I wasn't, I never spoke out. I was as good, like I would have never been political and stuff. It's just, then you realize it doesn't really matter. And, it's not like these guys haven't found it. The reason why I'm so enamored also by file sharing is because everything peer-to-peer fascinates me, because I would have a fantastic career if it would be up to fans. Yeah. And when I'm saying fans, I don't have a lot of women. I mean, I have a lot of women fans too, but the majority of my fans that put me on lists and go Lexi, Lexi, Lexi are all young males.
But let me stop you right there. Why do you say it doesn't matter? Because I'm just looking at our chat boards and Twitter right now, and everyone right now is tweeting at you and talking about how you're making great points, great statements. Don't you think that with going on enough shows, getting your voice out there more, you don't think that matters at all?
Well, it hasn't mattered so far.
But that's a so far. Why? But is that the end of the journey?
Well, no. Listen. First of all, I went to TV. Okay, I've literally had almost every season 2 shows option. They have never made it. People go by IMDb and they think I haven't made anything since that last little kind of Christian film. Yeah. It's not a Christian film, but they thought it was. I needed some therapy from Punisher, so I did something that was the opposite of Punisher. But no, I've been in TV, and I've been throwing out. I have a show right now with Landscape, which is about DSS agents, the guys, the diplomatic security service and stuff. So I'm out there, and I'm working way too much, frankly. I focused even more on international TV. The movie world sometimes pulls me back in, mainly because fans will say, when are you ever going to do martial arts movie? And then I imagine myself, God, I have this one story in my head, and it's this badass martial arts thing, and I really want to do it. But then I think about the politics, who do I have to meet? Then they tell me who to cast. They give you this list of actors that says A, B, C, and that's basically what they're worth in what country.
That's the same thing as like the list for directors. Actors get on those lists, and you hear actors in LA that are like, how do I get on Warner's list to just be seen for a role?
The lists flip me out. Like I want I want actually all of them to disappear. I just want to be like, I want it between the filmmakers and the actors and the audience, not the gatekeepers who is this like weird golf country club that's very, you see all these blogs writing about this useless executive, and they're not all useless, but there's a lot of kind of
good old boy winks
and old Hollywood type stuff too.
Yeah, and a lot of like there's a weird like, hey, look, there's certain deals that are called these pot deals, and they basically like these producers who get fired, but they secure themselves to get a deal on the lot, and you have tons of them, and then you all of a sudden you walk in this office and I'm like, I don't even know why this guy works in this business. He knows shit. But then you realize he's getting paid for the next 20 years, and that stuff, it's gotten so toxic that it just has become, it's I'm telling you, it is like a really bad country club, and it's gross.
I think there's a part of you, though, that knows that even though you're exhausted from doing this, though, you're doing some good when you you speak out on these issues, though. Like, and you can tell just from our chat, where like it really does further the conversation.
Let me read you a tweet.
I'm disrupting the status quo, and hey, you know what? There was a moment where I thought I was on my motorcycle, and on
you ride a motorcycle?
Yeah,
of course you do.
Yeah, I was.
Did you ever kick anybody off a motorcycle?
I would love to. No, but I was on my motorcycle on Mulholland Drive, and something happened because there's people in LA don't know really what motorcycles do sometimes, I think. So anyway, somebody miscalculated my speed, and there was a moment where I literally flew through the air, and I thought, oh, this is it, I'm going to die. And it was one. I didn't, because I actually know how to fall really well. But the point was,
stunt woman background, right?
There was a moment where I thought, God, this could have really been it. There's a lot of motorcycle people die, right? I thought, what if I would die? Like, what, and that really changed me. I'm like, there's something about like the legacy you leave. Like, can I actually leave this place a better place than it was before? I don't want to be one of those chicken shit directors who plays the political game.
Yeah.
I go fuck themselves, these Hollywood idiots.
Right.
No, I mean, like, this bothers me when they, like, they will tell me behind closed doors, oh, did you hear such and such? And I'm like, say it. You're making the place, but they don't care. They don't care.
And that's the politics of it all?
Yeah, I mean,
like high
people,
school sometimes,
well, but it's also
very cliquey. And
it's high school, but it's also politics, and I get there are two
really
ways.
Politics.
There are two ways to play it, and I get
could
it.
never be a politician.
And I think that's the thing. Is sometimes, but you have to admit sometimes it makes sense to play the politics, whether or not you can play it or whether or not you want to play it or not, and you're able to play it. It behooves people sometimes to play those politics.
Let me ask you this: when you're a multi-millionaire director, why play politics?
Because that's why they become even more.
It keeps you there.
It keeps you there.
I think there's a
how much more money can you make?
That's the age-old question, though. Yeah. That's been going on forever, and that's also because that's why.
Doesn't that make you guys sick sometimes?
Of course it does, but it's also some of those people that are doing that, and granted, some of them are the fat cats that just keep getting fat, but then there's other ones who are the keen businessmen and know what they're doing and maybe say the right things and make the right plays and know maybe certain things when to say it so they can make their next move and their next play. And I agree with you.
I mean, I admire those people.
But it's not for everybody, for sure. But what I'm saying is that the reason I brought up, there are a lot of tweets in here that people are loving everything you're saying. You're down with the status quo. Excellent points being made by Lexi Alexander. Great catch getting Lexi Alexander on the show tonight. It's just my first time watching live, and I'm so glad this is my first one.
Oh, people are actually watching us?
Yeah, people actually watch the show. So,
see, I stir up arguments with the right people. I lost, but I stir up. And again, I wasn't trying to start something with you particularly. It was just actually I agreed with your point, and I'm glad that you felt. What
did you exactly say? Because I wanted to actually tell you something about that.
She turns and goes, "Who are you?"
Oh God, yeah.
What did you say? Because there was
what I said was that I think that the mentality like that I would fear more that women having a mentality like that they're going to fail whether they do a good job or not.
Correct.
Is just as scary as the fact that a woman wouldn't get hired doing Wonder Woman in the first place. So, and I think that somewhere inside you, I think there's the same thing, that if you got offered whatever comic book property or Star Wars film, is that you know that you would do a good job making that movie.
I wouldn't be as afraid doing Star Wars as I would be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has the added female character thing too. That's what I meant. It's like a double whammy.
Right.
If somebody would say,
what if it was a Princess Leia standalone film?
Again, it's like there's a lot. There's a lot laying on this whole. We don't have enough film. But there was actually something about what you said. What I didn't understand is that people would take it as all women should say that. Okay, that's I think for women who do have that in their head, how much is lying on that whole thing. That's a tough thing to do, because you also have to understand, when you make a studio film, which very few people on the blog sphere who put their opinion out there actually know about, okay? It's rough because you have to, be political or argue with a lot of people, and there's 20 people who tell you how to make a better movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, that's not only for a first-time studio director. That's like, Ridley Scott still fights for So
and you bring up Ridley Scott. So is that because? Look, Ridley Scott's one of the greats.
Can we
of all
talk
time.
about somebody else, because he did Exodus?
My point with him though is the fact that because Ridley Scott has not had a couple hits over his last three have been not great. Prometheus, people take it or leave it. The Counselor was pretty shitty in my opinion. So when you think that because what have you done for me lately also plays into it? as well with even the greater directors?
Well, I think that's the point she's making, is that no, because he got to do this huge God's movie. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
well, no, listen, the boys, like, you make one. See, that's the issue. It didn't go for people say, oh, director makes one film that makes money, and that will work forever, except Catherine Hardwicke. Okay, but that's beside the point. We all call it, like, when we say Ridley and he hasn't had a few hits, we all say, oh, he will M Night it for another 20 years. Okay,
right.
So that's has become a verb.
But
now.
Prometheus still made money, though. That's the difference.
Absolutely. Look, I loved Gladiator. Like, this is, I don't know about the blackfacing, but besides the point, and this is a big thing, is that part of speaking out about this and explaining other people the issue. Like, a lot of people don't know about the beginning. Like, where did a Zack Snyder begin? Like, they don't understand from, like, did they get signed out of film school based on a commercial? Did the women in his class? What did their real look like? Did their first films get picked up of distribution? The one female director who's kind of like, well, Catherine Hardwicke should be too, but the one that's like a checkmate is Deborah Granick. You cannot look at Winter's Bone and know that she cast Jennifer Lawrence, and that film was fucking amazing, and then she doesn't work for 2 years. Checkmate. End of story.
Yeah.
Stop. Don't talk anymore about there's no discrimination and the best person gets the job.
And that she's been going there. What you've been.
She's now making a documentary. There's 10 things that she wanted to do that fell through. It's Deborah Granick.
What were you saying, Lexi?
She's just been in the news with articles about how she hasn't worked for so long, even though she's wanted to try.
Interesting. What were the articles?
It's all over. Just Google her.
And
so one of the contexts inside the article, she was just saying that she hasn't worked in a bit. And okay.
Is there? I mean, and it shouldn't have to go this route, I think, for a woman or a man, but where it's like Kickstarter, where you can really plug into.
I hate crowdfunders. They make us all ghetto.
But is that something where it's like, if you're speaking to saying that the fans are the ones who really want to see you directing stuff, if giving them that hand in it and being able to say, okay, I'm stepping out of the whole like Hollywood club, I'm doing this on the side, how like
I'm kind of doing that, because that's where the file sharing comes in. Like, this will all, I'm actively trying to take the gatekeepers and the middlemen out.
Yeah,
I'm not just like talking and cursing shit. I'm trying actively. Like, if I could diminish them all tomorrow, I would. Hi, could I have an interview for Star Wars now? I believe that I have issues. On God, my friend Emily Best runs such a great site, and I don't want to, like, what she does is great with Seed and Spark. Like, I don't want to poo-poo on cookies. My issue with that is I don't want to ask people for, what do you call it?
Charity?
Yes.
A handout.
I would like to have a service where people can, like, bet on me. Like, I'd much rather be a racehorse than a pantomime with a hat. Okay?
It goes back to, like, the fighting mentality.
Okay, but still, like, imagine if all the comic book fans, or all my fans that are always like, when are you making another movie? Like, if they could all put, like, in $20, and if the movie becomes, like, they get 20 out, or like 20, like, they get 40 out. That's what I mean. Like, if they could all make money, but I don't want to say, give me your money, and you're getting a shitty t-shirt. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It pisses me off, and it pisses me even more off when fucking rich actors. Sorry again.
It doesn't matter, Lexi. This
he
point,
asked
just go
me not to curse, and I'm just going. I'm like totally.
You know what?
It's a Tourette. Sorry.
Fuck it.
Yeah, but
I thought she was looking at Ken because he's a rich actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
no, but you know what I'm saying. Like, and also, like, then you all of a sudden see, like, almost every woman out there who's trying to have a career. It's just heartbreaking, and it's a lot of people of color, and it just bothers me that it's like, you know, you never see like the like all-American white kid who just graduated from Columbia. You don't see him on Kickstarter anywhere. No, what you see is or the audacity of somebody who is actually
like Zach
rich.
Braff or something?
Yeah. But you don't. You know, what you see is I'm getting 20 texts a day from women. Help me, I'm doing this. Why? Let me ask you this. If people, all those liberals and all those feminists, like, okay, famous feminist, I'm not going to mention his name, but famous feminist director. I'm such a feminist. Here's my feminist tweet. Look how feminist I am. Take your fucking money and put $200,000 into 10 or 20 short films for young upcoming female directors. Just give them $10,000 each and let them do 5-minute bits on who can actually do the best Wonder Woman bit or whatever comic book film they want to do next. Why not? Why not? But no, all they do is, here's my feminist tweet,
Now, would you say that person, the person that puts in the $200,000, that it's like that they're investing almost, because especially being a director, the short films, especially nowadays with all the comic book films, don't make the money. That would be more of an investment inside the filmmaker.
That would be doing something to make us a better industry and more representative and have every point of view. These people have more money. I mean, listen, if I can actually make a living of residual checks of a movie that didn't even open, I know what these people make. Do they need another Ferrari? And hear that, then shut up about it, but don't be on Twitter and be all, I'm a feminist, but then do something. Right. All the people in technology, the engineers, when they realized, we can't actually find female coders, you know what they did? They put on all these hackathons and they taught girls and they said, we're so sorry we've lost you, we're bringing you back. Put some money into it, or shut up.
What's that? Wait, Alicia's.
I am getting slightly passionate about it.
Really, I love it.
You're not even talking anymore.
The Twilight series, they're putting on some short films.
Not that, by the way.
No, I know. But they've enlisted 5 females, including Catherine Hardwicke, to judge short films made by female directors, just as a way to give them a heads up.
Yeah, that I don't like, though, because then you're asking now women for free to promote the brand.
Well, I think they gave them money
to make the shorts.
Okay, but here's the thing: why does it have to be? Why can't we just if there's a thing, we should really see any young adult properties coming up. Let's say there was another Hunger Games, and coincidentally we wouldn't have found a white guy who's available, which clearly we didn't. But anyway, let's say we really need a woman for the last one, okay? Why can't we just say, we're gonna, choose 20, women who send us a letter who say, this is why I want this job, and then we send them out, because maybe they don't have the real, that's the issue.
It'd be like the Hunger Games for the Hunger Games, the movies would compete, one wins.
Well, I have another question for you. This comes in from @ZenRonan. He said, would Lexi embrace Netflix, Yahoo, Hulu,
Yes. Yes.
All those you would, because it looks like, from what we've seen so far, especially with what Netflix has done with television, that film is the next step. And they even announced that with what they're doing with Adam Sandler. I guess he's doing a series of films. So do you think, first of all, from being in this medium, do you think that that's where movies are going to go? And that obviously would be something you'd like to get involved in?
Yes, I am actually actively trying. I'm meeting with most of them. Netflix isn't interesting. I may be doing them wrong. That's why I'm going to put this in. This is the disclaimer. This is just a rumor. I've heard about from 10 people. But see, I'm out there pitching to all these places, and this is what I've been doing on the TV side, not movies, right? And I'm dying to go into Netflix, especially because they're moving so strongly into Europe. And I've always considered myself more of an international filmmaker. And apparently, again, I don't...
It's just rumor.
Well, yeah, it's basically executives who work with us now on the show. They've said to me they only want star names and star creators. So they moved from we're going to become successful with edgy creators to we're only having the A-list TV creators.
That would echo the Adam Sandler deal. Yeah. Right. Well, let me ask you I want to ask you a very serious question. It's very serious, and I apologize if I get too deep. What do you think of his mustache?
Should he shave it after December?
I don't mind it, but what I really want to know is what is that belt and who is boxing?
No, that belt is the property of the gentleman with the headphones on over there. We had a 15-week movie trivia contest. All of us battled, and for 15 weeks we battled through it. And Mark Riley, the editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com, won the belt, and that's his belt. He was presented tonight. Yeah.
But nobody fought?
Well, we fought, Lexi.
With their minds.
There was some fighting.
There actually were some punches thrown. There were some trials had afterwards. There was some litigation involved. There was pretty much everything that 15
I love
weeks.
That.
Yeah. Now,
I would lose every
movie trivia?
Trivia.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to let you go, and I know the Finstock I said, but I know the rest of Schmoeville doesn't want me to let you go, but I have to ask you now. You talked about fighting. You talked about fighters and belts here, and you talked about martial arts film. Who are the best actors/actresses martial art films, tough guys that you would cast in a film if you could cast someone? Who are the ones that you'd go after, men and women?
I love Zoe Bell. Well, I as a fan, I love Zoe Bell, and I love Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, yeah.
And I love Gina Carano. Yeah, so I think
love her as well.
You Katie Sackhoff fan?
I don't actually know them. Oh no, wait, I know who that is. Yeah. I love her. Yeah. But she just came up for a part for some people saying she should be Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. She was our co-host in the show. You should meet her. She's fantastic.
Yeah, no. I actually, when she came up, I'm like, yes, exactly. Yeah. She's right. Is she on the TV show right now?
She's on the Longmire. Just got picked up.
See, I always thought she was the best thing about that show.
I'm going to set this up right now. When Katie's on this show often, when Katie's back on, will you come back on and be on with Katie?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
Also, what I love about her.
Oh, good. I really get to talk on that
show. I love her like body build. Like sometimes when
So do I.
Yeah, look at you.
He's trying to bend bridges.
I won't actually compete with you there. I mean, I'm saying it as a director.
Right.
But,
trust me so much.
All right, so Zoe, Katie, Gina.
And as guys, like, look, I'm from the stunt world. I believe in casting the best actor and then having a really great stuntman. I don't. Well, I mean, some can cross over, but in general, I think for the stuff I write, like particularly the one that I have in my head that just keeps not leaving my head that I really want to do is like it has as much drama that you really, I mean, you can't just wing it. You like got to play the drama, kind of like that short film I made, Johnny Flint. Like you had to actually, like some guys flipping out over his wife. So you have to do that. But then on this film, there would be a lot of martial arts. So I believe in casting an actor and letting the stuntman do his
Are you
work.
a Statham fan or is he overused?
I'm not. I don't. I kind of respect him for what he's done.
Okay.
But then when you're talking about casting an actor first, and then someone who does great stunt work, when you see something like Gina Carano or Ronda Rousey, who I would say are not the best actresses.
They're not good actresses. They're not.
But they I think they write for like if there's this genre, like look. If you're doing Fast and the Furious, first of all, give them bigger parts, okay? But if you're doing Fast and the Furious and you're casting them, nothing's going to happen. If you're doing $1 Million Baby, you should cast Hilary Swank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's the kind of thing.
But there's, like, Michelle Rodriguez. I think she walks that line incredibly well because she acts as much as you need to do in Fast and Furious, but she can fight. And like, I've seen her at the gym boxing. I know that she actually...
she even did... Girl Fight,
yeah.
right. So... I hate to do this. Lexi, thank you so much. This is incredible.
Did you have fun? We hope we didn't just make you come on here and then, we
You're
let
looking at us still like you want to punch Mark Ellis.
Yeah. you can beat the shit out of me if you want to. But I'm happy you came on. I hope you had a good time on our show.
I had an excellent time. I'm still kind of like in awe that I'm actually on camera.
You are.
I have to show my Pirate Bay,
yes,
my
and
Pirate
we're going to send this to you.
National Pirate Party shirt.
Yeah, Schmoeville, make sure that you follow Lexi at Lexi Alex. And also, this will be up. If you're watching it live, great. Obviously, we know that you're being involved. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure that you tweet at Lexi and let her know the various amounts of topics that she talked about tonight.
If there's any abuse on Twitter, please,
Schmoeville's not like
don't
that.
Let me erase it.
I'm telling you, Schmoeville, you're going to find a lot of positives from Schmoeville.
No, I love your fans already. Oh, you have a lot of German fans.
No, that's great. So,
Hallo, alle Deutschen.
I'm already
Christian,
like, I'm going to tweet that she should do, there's a Constantine marathon going on right now, and I'm like, she should direct one of them.
You're coming back, and you're going to come back with Katie.
I'm coming back, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Lexi Alexander, thank you so much, guys. When we get back, we're going to cram in the half an hour, we're going to cram in the top superhero movies. Right after the break, Schmoes Know Movies.
Hey, I'm Ken Knapsack.
My name is Maud Garrett.
And this is the Jedi Alliance, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told, Star Wars.
In every single episode, you can expect so much Star Wars goodness. Not only do we put two things in the Star Wars universe against each other in Duel of the Fates.
We have great trivia, guests, and also some fierce discussions over pronunciations of certain ships.
And we can't promise that we won't be doing our very own sound effects or impressions and impersonations.
This is true. We've got up-to-date Star Wars news, speculation on episode 7 as well, and you can find us on iTunes, where I want you to subscribe, rate, and review.
Oh, and you can also find us on the YouTube channel, which of course is youtube.com/Schmoes Know Podcast. Rate and review, you will.
Yes, you will. That's the Jedi Alliance on the Schmoes Know Network.
Hello, Schmoeville. This is Mark Riley here.
And I'm Jeff Snyder.
And we are Meet the Movie Press, and we are taping shows every week with special guests from Variety, from Badass Digest, from all over the internet, all over the geek blogosphere and the trades. We are breaking down the news every week, the most hot stories, the biggest scoops, and we want you, Schmoeville, to subscribe, rate, comment on the iTunes and YouTube channels on the Schmoes Know Movie Network.
You have such a handsome voice, Mark.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I like being here with you. So, guys, come on, check us out every week. Meet the Movie Press. We're excited to be doing this. We're excited to be breaking down everything, and we want you to come with us every week for this wonderful journey we are on. Right, Jeff?
Please.
Apparel.com.
Let's give Josh the best day of his life, please. All right, so Kristian DeLuca, we want to interview you. We haven't talked to you in a while. Would you please take your seat? The
throne of shame.
The throne of shame. Yes, whatever's easiest.
She doesn't know where to sit. Unfortunately, there's only one place.
There's only one place. There you go.
Kind of like checking in
Joe
at a
needs a
Motel
hug.
6.
Joe, help out here. Help. Unbelievable. What are you doing? Help out our guests, both our guests.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I've never seen anything so amazing.
This is unbelievable. This is a disaster. All right, yay!
By the way, Josh, there's no touching in the champagne room.
No touching in the champagne room, and give her headphones, man. Give her headphones.
Yeah, give Kristian the headphones so we can talk to her. And Kristian, if it's okay with you,
yes, please.
I would like to ask Miss DeLuca the first question.
Of course you can.
Kristian, in the last 10 seconds, have you noticed a 2-inch divot anywhere?
Unbelievable. How do you think you would have done as the bear?
Amazing.
Nice. See?
It's nice and squishy.
You got a fan.
It's all the holidays.
Joe the intern just died inside.
Thanksgiving and Christmas, I ate a lot.
So, did you see? When it was one of those things. Did you go ahead and see? You saw it with a bunch of girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, that was the thing. It was like, did they all go bananas as well?
Yes, there was a lot of
Must have been like
sounds
Rocky,
I heard.
Hooting and hollering, or
Yeah.
like actually, or underwear?
No, like
stuff? Unbelievable. what did they do?
I heard it. I
All right,
swear.
that's
Did you not? I heard that.
On Josh
I swear.
That's a good one.
Oh my God, you're so mean.
Trust me, he doesn't care right now. Yeah, he is red right now. He is red.
Because Tommy Lee Jones is literally getting a BJ from Meryl
BJ?
Streep in a theater. Yeah.
Just say blowjob.
Thank you. Thank you. Kristian, this is why we brought Kristian today.
Yeah, I'll listen to her give me instructions, not you.
I didn't say
animal.
it. I apologize. All right, so anyway, I
don't want to get Josh too excited. I want him to hear any
That's
adult
my
words.
point. I want to see how he can hold
you know
it
when you
together.
take a dog to the vet, you got to be like, hey, we got to go to the VET because otherwise the dog will freak out. I say BJ, I don't want Josh to go crazy.
This is a funny. Joey Beans. I wasn't going to read it, but I have to. Josh has a face as red as his shirt. What shade of blue is his balls?
I won the competition. What's going on here? I won.
I know that's music. That's X-Men First Class, right? Jitty Rock. That's right, Jitty Rock nodding his head. Why do I still have this empty beer can? Come on, Meatball. So we had that was an amazing talk with director Lexi Alexander and myself.
I'm tweeting
Kristian
about it right now.
It's so good. Tiffany Smith. Mark Ellis had to go to the bathroom because Lexi actually kicked him in the face during the break. That was great. There he comes. Here he is. That was just she's something, man. She's a firecracker, and you could tell. I respect. I will say, man, it's very ballsy, but I want to talk to Alicia here about Alicia. Give me some overall thoughts of what we just talked about here with Lexi and your overall things, because like you said, this is your jam. We talked during the break a little bit. Give me your overall thoughts of what Lexi was talking about.
Yeah, it was killing me sitting on the couch and not getting to be part of this discussion because this is my jam. Everything she said is exactly my points and everything I've been making. But I love it because she's actually in the industry and working, and she can tell people like you guys, this is what's happening. So I feel like I've said to you guys before, a female director wouldn't be in Star Wars. We need more female cast in Star Wars, and you're all like, yeah, whatever. But it's good to hear.
We didn't say yeah, whatever.
Well, you're like, oh,
Come
what?
on.
Get off your little soapbox. No, you're great. But
that's why you're on the couch, Malone.
Shut up, Malone.
That's
Turn
right.
the microphone off. But
Aussie minx.
But it's great to hear from someone who is actually on the front line, behind the scenes, and you can hear from her how difficult it is being a woman in film.
And hearing it just like where she's saying, that there are actors saying they don't want to be directed by a female. And I guess, like, if you're brought onto a project as the lead actor and they're like, how do you want this project to be run? There's one thing to be said, like, I feel more comfortable here. I don't feel more comfortable here. But the fact that you could get kicked off of a film because the lead actor says that, that's where you're like, okay, well, if guys are going to say that, and maybe there could be women that say they don't want to be directed by a female.
And just they don't even get in the front door for a meeting in the first place.
That to me was the one. That's the big thing. But for me, in regards to the fighter, and she was in the middle of a point I want to bring it up too, is the fact that with that instance, Mark Wahlberg had worked with Russell on Huckabees and had wanted to work with him again, and had been working with Aronofsky on developing the fighter. And when it was going back and forth, he wanted a Russell. That was just his passion thing. So I think that was more about him wanting his guy. Could have been Guy, but
just a general
100%.
But to hear her talk about the industry as a whole, it was really exciting. And I know she's exhausted talking about it, but I think it's a topic worth talking about. And it was a fight worth having, even though she herself is exhausted from the battle.
It was a great.
And I hope she doesn't stop talking about it.
It was also.
I don't think she's able to stop talking about it.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I want to talk to Mr. Magoo. Hold on, I got
porn star over here.
Yeah, Josh Magoo.
My mic. I'm on the Ken mic.
You're on.
Yeah.
I was like giving Alicia my phone, like my opinion of the situation.
And what was your opinion?
Well, like I said, she seems like she could be tough to work with.
Yeah.
Because she's very passionate. And then Alicia said, yeah, well, guys are like that too. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. David O. Russell is known across the industry as being an absolute madman.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they're given so much more
leeway.
And as soon as a woman does something like, if she's a bitch, she's out.
But wouldn't you rather have somebody like that tell you what to do? Like if I'm on set and somebody's asking me to do something, just tell me where to be. She's not going to mince words. She's going to tell you you're doing a good job or you're doing a bad job. That's
why I'm a mama's boy. I like my mom tells me what to do.
But that is definitely something that, business world also, where it's like a man does one thing and you're like, more power to him, and a woman does it and you're like, oh, don't let her in the door because she's difficult.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get back into this, but I have a question. We have 20 minutes. So what my thoughts on this is, and I will
get a quick rundown.
No, my thoughts is
Guardians, and it was awesome, and the guy with the alien.
Because I think we would do a disservice to what we just went through here over the last hour, because it was such a great conversation discussion for people who are just tuning in general. I think that what we should do is open up the phone lines, get some thoughts from Schmoeville.
Before we talk about all the superheroes. I don't
think we talk about superheroes right now. I think superheroes we move. We go on break. And we come back from break, and then we just because we can dedicate some more time to it, because you can't cram that.
We go on break as in 2 weeks, not as in you're going to hear a commercial.
Right. We go next week we're on break, but in the meantime, before we go back and talking about Lexi and everything that she was talking about, one of the things that I wanted to let you guys know, if you didn't know, Mustache Magoo, Alicia, Josh Makuga, Mark Riley, JTE, Finstock, the whole crew has shows on the network, the Popcorn Talk Network. If you don't know, you will not be able to find those shows on the youtube.com/Schmoes Know Podcast channel anymore. You have to subscribe to Popcorn Talk Network and make sure that's where all those shows will live. iTunes are the same. This show, though, Mark, still on the youtube.com/Schmoes Know Podcast.
That's right, and it's the same shows, the same content that you've come to know and love. We started this thing, we really believe in it with our partners, and so when you go to Popcorn Talk Network, you're going to get the same vibe that you always have gotten from all those great shows. And we have a couple new shows that are going to be coming out early next year, and all the ones you've already fallen in love with this cast of characters sitting on the couch as well as everywhere else are going to be found on Popcorn Talk Network. So subscribe there on YouTube right now.
I think you and I need to have a lunch with Lexi Alexander and try to get her to host her own show on the network.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
I just want to hear her talk.
It was also fun to watch Studio Harloff go into I haven't met Studio Harloff in a little bit here, but as soon as he locked in, you know what you're talking.
I don't know what I did.
You lock into these people, man. When you get these people that are really passionate about fighting for this thing in the movie industry, because you used to work in the movie industry, you used to be a suit, man. And when you meet somebody that you're really interested in their opinion, you want to know what's going on in Hollywood now, you just lock eyes. You just went at. You should have seen yourself. You were like Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men, just locking eyes with that. It was really cool to watch.
Well, I really did want to hear what she was talking about, because she's been through it, and I also like, because it's rare, and that's why I brought it up to her. It's very rare when someone speaks their own opinion, because personally I think it's very dangerous. I think it's dangerous for her to do. I respect her immensely for what she did and everything she said, but I think it's very dangerous for everything that she talked about, even though she's getting your point out. Like she said, if someone hears that interview, there's probably what Makuga just said.
Yeah.
Ooh, that might be tough to deal with for.
But it's more important than
if the doors are already being closed to you. Like,
why not speak out? Sure.
Which is what she's saying, where it's like, I'm already coming up against this wall. I may as well say what I'm feeling instead of being quiet and still having the door closed in my face.
Yeah.
Like,
well, let's talk to Schmoeville, and then I know Makuga's got something too. But let's talk to Schmoeville. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, it's Tristan from San Diego.
Hey, dude, what's going on, brother? So you just watched the interview with Lexi. What'd you think overall of what she had to say?
Dude, that was like one of the best interviews you guys have had on the show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Like, I think it was really interesting because it's like from a fan standpoint, we're like obviously watching like your guys' show or AMC. We have the opinions on the female directors directing whatever movie, or hey, let's do this. But then you like listen to this to Lexi, and it's like you get this behind the scenes kind of look. Like, wow, this is like obviously a huge problem, and I didn't realize how big of a problem it was, and it's really eye-opening, and I kind of want to do some more research.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Based on that.
It's a great. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for you guys. So now listening to this, what things would you guys like suggest in this industry to obviously fix the solution? And I mean, it is discrimination. So what solutions would you guys have ideas for?
It's a great question. And by the way, I'm going to give you a copy of White Christmas, Tiffany. There's a great phone call, so just go ahead. And
wait a minute, what?
It's coming out on Blu-ray, courtesy of Paramount Pictures.
You're giving him White Christmas.
It was a fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was a great call, but you haven't seen it.
I have one.
You need to watch it.
Don't worry, I got one. But I'm
giving it away before you watch it.
But I want, dude, make sure you go to the Schmoes Know Facebook page and message me over there, and we'll get that out to you.
Such a good movie.
Okay, so thank you for that. But let Riley answer that question. Riley seemed to really be locked into that question. Riley, what do you?
He's looking at porn over there.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Sorry, let me turn this off. Yeah. It goes along.
It's not the after hours show. Tiffany,
Stop!
you ever see my dragon?
Oh God,
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so glad I'm not going to be in that.
Stop it. Anyway.
Look. The point is, fellas, ladies, I think it across the board. Hollywood does not have balls anymore. They do not take an original script like an E.T. or a Goonies or a whatever and make it. And they don't have the balls to give something to a woman, a strong woman director like this. I think she would kill a Star Wars movie. And Kristian, I see you cringing. The balls is the safe bet, which is a brand that Lexi talked about.
To lose money.
Yeah, but I also think that, and listen, the studio side of things, I respected everything that she said. I really did. But I also understand the other side of things. And I'm not taking anything away from what she said. There's absolutely a discrimination going. There absolutely is. But there are women who are breaking through, and hopefully, because to say that nobody's getting through, and there's no one out.
4.7%.
Maybe so, but
5 years.
Right.
Well, and how many can you just rattle off?
I'm not telling you that it's high, and I'm not telling you that the problem is solved. What I'm saying is that there are people out there who can make an impact. I don't agree that there's no one speaking out and no one else. She's not the only voice. Yeah. There are other voices out there, and I think that there are people on lists, and I think that more people will get on lists. And I think that the perfect example of that was why I brought up the Star Wars thing, was because I stand by this. I thought Jenna Bush jumped the gun with all that stuff when she was saying that the people hadn't gotten cast yet. I thought that Gwendolyn Christie was already cast. The characters were set. Whether it is, it's
but
whatever.
I don't think she's wrong to want that or to make that point.
No. What? Yeah. Absolutely not.
Even if it's too early, at least saying something is important.
Because I think the reason why I think that the full cast had come out and then she had said something, then it's accurate.
When do we know that it's the full cast?
I think because a big enough because there wasn't an announcement yet. There wasn't. It doesn't matter. That's not the point that I'm making.
Not inside baseball.
I think the point. I think the biggest takeaway from that is that it's really really hard to have friends. And what I mean by that is that when you look at all these lists that she's talking about, that some people are on and some people aren't on this list, it's like, it's hard to criticize your friends, and it's hard to go out, especially when there's money involved, you know? Like, I won't tell Makuga he had a crappy set last night if there's no money involved. If he's going to pay me $10,000 to hang out and to do his show at the Laugh Factory, even if it's not a good show, am I going to stand up and on Twitter say, hey, I'm a part of the show, but man, that show sucked last night. This is just Josh. This isn't. Don't take this personally.
This is therapy.
But see, I'm even worried about him taking personally in a hypothetical situation. Like, it's really hard when you're friends with somebody to say, oh, you know what, you're not doing things the right way. By the way, thanks for funding me and my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids' college. It's a tough thing to do, and I'm glad that people like her have the right to step up and say this needs to change.
And this is why I don't have a problem with the Wonder Woman wanting a female director, even though I agree that it is a lot of pressure on whoever takes the job. But someone you need to step in there. You need someone a leg up to get in the industry.
And that was my point too when I made that point about Wonder Woman, is that I'd prefer to have somebody with a female director, and I just want there to be female directors, and there are, that they need to step up. Having said that, this is Wonder Woman. It's not exactly if you're coming to Wonder Woman from a female perspective, I don't know that you get that much more sense of who Wonder Woman is. She's a superhero who has an invisible jet.
But
who can relate to that?
That's the thing. The chance needs to be there, because I don't think it's something like, I don't think it's right to say, listen, she's a woman, she has to direct this movie because it's a female lead. I don't think that's what anybody wants.
Out of balance.
But it's like, you should have somebody in there.
It's whoever is best.
And it's like talking to her where I was saying this stuff where I'm like, there should be, where she was like, I don't see from a woman's perspective. I'm like, but you do, you're a woman.
Right.
So those characters need to be told too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get some more calls here from Schmoeville, because I know that they're chatting out. No more calls from Schmoeville. 424-253-0504. Did the phone lines go out again, JT? Don't just shake your head. Flail your arms if not.
So many people are calling.
No, okay. Well,
there are a lot of people calling right now, and this. So don't. He does that. He's like, last week he did. No one's calling, and there are people. Tons of people.
Here's another good point too: is that this is all good stuff. It's like people like if you think that somebody jumped the gun by saying, oh, they didn't cast enough women in Star Wars. Yeah, that was my opinion too. Is that let's wait and see who the rest of the cast is. But it's not like we can never be friends. Like, this is good conflict to have.
Absolutely.
If it furthers the dialogue.
The discussion is important.
If Jenna made a point and Alicia made a point and then Kristian made another good point, it's like, this is all good since we already swore on the show.
The discussion goes, I have never once have gone against the cause. The cause is what mine is just, it's always for me is, when is the plan executed? Execute the plan at the right times. And it's just a matter of who you think is right as far as when the execution.
Well, that sounded really nefarious.
Well, and
it's when the plan is executed.
The simple fact, though, that all of us said, there's a lot of stuff that she said that we'd never heard before. That's where you're like, yes, the conversation needs to be had. I mean, I was a part of this documentary called She Makes Comics, and just the fact that all of these women were coming out, there have been women in comics from the beginning, but no one talked about it.
Yeah.
So it's like in film, where it's like, if we're all talking about it and the discussion's happening, more women are going to get those jobs. It's going to be more in the forefront.
This is Abe Lincoln, baby. More heads in the room, more discerning opinions, and you all get to talk about this and come up with the best strategy going forward. That's like awesome. People are so afraid of conflict now. You know what I'm going to do?
Debate.
Every time I'm on AMC, I'm going to call out some other director, some producer. It doesn't matter. If we can get them on the show and give them a real pulpit to talk about this, I've done my job.
Well, JT, put a camera on you and the Three Stooges in there, because I want to... So wait, what's going on?
The engineering booth is on fire. But it's literally burning.
I would rather him say to me, the phones aren't working, and instead he's saying no one's calling, and I have 50 people tweeting.
I needed a second to test the phone lines. The first two calls seem to go through. Now they are not going through.
Wait, he doesn't work for Pac Bell. He's the engineer for this show. It's like there's.
You understand? That's the answer I wanted in the first place.
I'd rather just have him flailing.
Can you do a flail? Put on the camera and flail. Put on the camera. I want them to see you flail. Can you flail? Come on, give me one flail. They want to see it. Come on, let's do one flail.
You know what this is?
Camera on and flail.
You know what this really is?
That a girl.
Here's the problem: is that there's a lot of female callers trying to call into the show right now, and they're not on our list. There's 3 people on our list, and nobody else can get in.
Well, here's what I'm going to do, because I want to give
just a little satire.
Courtesy of Ripped Apparel, I want to give a T-shirt. Someone's been tweeting their face off about the interview tonight. Is our own Leanne Lecoteur,
Queen?
Yeah, she's going to get a free Ripped Apparel shirt. So thank you, Leanne, for all the.
She lives like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm also going to get another free Ripped Apparel shirt to Brett Olson, who did a lot of great logo stuff for us on the network, and he does all the Schmoes Know.
Oh, he was the best, dude.
Well, he's going to do some more stuff for the Schmoes Show and some other things too. So make sure if you don't know,
follow him on Instagram.
Check them out. Yeah, and I want to let's calm this conversation out. Because I want to ask. I want to go back to
you're
Alicia.
out of order.
I want to go back to Alicia now, and now we're going to go back to the after hour show.
Oh, okay.
Now you had time to think about your question. What are one of the questions you're going to ask either a male or female on the after hours, just to give the fans a test?
I think Lexi Alexander should moderate the after hours show.
God,
she'll provide German beer for us.
Because the thing is with Alicia is that when you talk to Alicia, especially like after if Chili's or wherever the hell we are, she really opens up about things.
When she was on Makuga's Between the Sheets, she made some good points.
But that's about her. Like when she really wants to know things about people. That look that you said I got with her, she gets that time.
She locks in.
She locks in and she wants to know things. So give us a preview.
Okay, a question to ask the women.
No, who would you like if you're curious?
Go after somebody.
And you might not necessarily get an answer right now. But if you're this question that you may ask a guy and you might ask a girl on the show.
Okay.
What's a question you're going to ask?
Well, Tiffany.
But Tiffany's not going to be there. Tiffany won't be there.
Okay, well, I would ask...
So here's who's going to be here. So everybody knows, on December 20th at 8 p.m., when we do the show, PST, Josh Makuga will be there. Ken Knapsack will be there. Copster. What's that kid's name? Cody. JTE. We will have Katie Sackhoff. We just talked about her. She's going to be here. We're going to have Sarah Stretton. We're going to have Roxy Stryer, Maude Garrett, your partner in crime, Miri Jetikin, Chris Lee Kennedy will also be here. And then Mark Ellis will be on the phone.
You're leaving out of that. I'm going to be on Skype via Omaha because I'll be in the funny bone.
But he'll be on the whole show. He'll be on the whole show via Skype. So you have the whole
I can't be on the whole. I got a show to do,
You're
man.
going to be on the whole show.
The question we often talk about the women who are involved in these shows when you guys aren't around. Is who we think has the biggest
whoa
ego.
Don't stop
her. Biggest ego
out of all you guys, because there's a lot of egos in this
There are
room.
a lot of egos. Okay, that's for the guys. Okay, for now for the girls. What would you ask the girls?
We always play the game of like who would you sleep with for one night? Who would you date for a month? Or who you would have as a boyfriend for a year? I like that.
Wow.
I like
That's like the watered down version of, what is it? Marry,
Kill.
Marry, kill, yeah.
Marry, kill, fuck.
Yeah.
You've already said it a million times on the show.
Okay. Well, that's that's when everybody's sober. So wait until everyone's drunk and see what happens. So that's all. Makooks, you got something for us to talk about the after hour show?
Well, I'm definitely bringing out Drunk Santa for a portion of it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
He'll be handing out gifts.
I just see Alicia and Maude coming up with the craziest questions at
as long as he's thinking a different light.
They do.
I want to give some context to this thing too, though. This is not just like we're showing up to the studio and then you guys are going live. Like you guys are going to be here before the show goes live because the show goes live at 8 p.m. PST. You guys are going to get here at what 6 o'clock is the call time for you guys.
We're here at 6 and we're drinking until 9.
No.
Wait, do you go live at 9 or 8?
Live at 9.
You said 8 before.
Oh, I lied. 9 to 12.
Maybe you should hold off until the show.
Wait and start drinking.
Yeah.
I'll be drinking until then. Anyway, look forward to it. Here's the other thing that you need to do. Like I said before, if you want to get all of the network shows, you go to Popcorn Talk Network. Subscribe there on YouTube. Make sure that you go to youtube.com/Schmoes Know Podcast for this show. Even if you are watching this show now on YouTube, comment, let us know. Subscribe on iTunes, rate and comment, get us up there. JT, go ahead and put the camera on. Put the camera on Ken Knapsack for a second.
It's been on her for
Oh, it's been on her. Okay, yeah. Look at another Aussie mix. Look at the stems on Maude. Maude, I didn't have those stems. Look at that. Nice.
Christian George Harlow.
She's wearing a dress. You can't say a girl has nice legs.
Oh man,
what's wrong with that? Wait, tell me what's wrong with that.
Yeah, because you said no. Look at the stems on Garrett.
What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? Be honest. You can say. Were you offended? Were you offended by that? I want to know if you were offended by the fact that it's a stem.
Look at the stems on Garrett or on that.
Garrett.
I think you might have said
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't
If
say
you said
that.
on that, it's different.
No, I said
That
Garrett.
is objectifying.
I said Garrett. Come on.
They are nice stems.
Thank you.
Jack would like to climb that beanstalk.
You fucking
Now,
asshole.
Stop.
All right.
This has turned into the after hours
This is
show.
a great, and that's my point exactly.
Thank
but
God
that's
I'm
what you
not
do.
going to be there.
You check out Tiffany tweets on Twitter. Check out the whole damn crew.
I want to say personal thank you to at Lexi Alex for coming on the show. Lexi Alexander, her Twitter is at Lexi Alex. She's a fantastic director. Get somebody out there, give her yet another shot because you've seen the body of work that she's already done.
Incredible.
And I think that doing stuff like this and speaking out on important issues is going to help further her cause and the cause of all talented people in the world.
And piggybacking off of that is that you guys who are watching out there, and even if you're watching now on YouTube, share this link, share this show with your friends. Tell tell your friends about this show. This is the reason why we do this. We got to spread the word on Schmoeville. You're growing. You want to go to Facebook, do it. Join us. Be a part of Schmoeville. Check it out. Thank you very much. We'll be off next week. We're back in 2 weeks. And keep on looking for that after show.
Gobble.
Peace out, Mother Fs.
From producers Kristian, Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know crew, we'd like to thank you for listening to the Schmoes Know Movie Show. Promotional consideration provided by the following: schmoesknow.com and Maud Garrett Stems. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes episodes, get movie news, and join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Popcorn Talk Network on Twitter. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know